o'clock. Hey, you guys. What's going on?
Today was a day, man.
You know what? I was just going to say that exact same thing.
Today was a fucking day.
You know how sometimes you have a day? Today was one of those.
Yeah, me and Jenny had to fight that damn Central Florida shit monster again. we were in the kitchen, had the washing machine running, and I was doing something in the sink. I was filling shit up. I had a sink going here, a sink going there. I turned the damn garbage disposal on, and went brr, brr, and the other one started backing up, and the washing machine, the dishwasher was going too. And I go, what the fuck is wrong with this sink? Why isn't this sink fucking... And the sink's trying to drain, and one side had bubble, the other side had bubble. I said, something's not fucking right. So I went back into my bedroom, saw water coming out of the damn bathroom door, and I'm looking, and fucking water's coming out around the base of the toilet. I'm going, oh, fuck. So I go to flush the toilet, and it just fucking goes up, fucking, and I'm going, oh, shit. And then black water's coming up out of the bathtub. It's coming up out of the shower. We were fucking running around panicking. I'm fucking throwing towels on the fucking floor and shit, trying to catch all the water. I'm going, what the hell is going on with this shit?
It was like that Japanese horror movie.
It's like that Japanese horror movie. Fucking everything was coming up out of the fucking sinks and bathtubs and toilets.
It was supernatural.
I didn't know what the fuck was going on. Some of it was black and some of it was clear. I was just like, oh, fuck. So I'm trying to grab a plunger. I'm plunging shit. Nothing's happening. Jenny's in there. She's fucking got the mop. She's wringing the mop with the shit water out. We're fighting the shit monster. Fucking.
We had like towels packed up to keep it from getting on the carpet.
Yeah, so I go, hold on, let me turn the water off. I run outside, turn the water off. I turn all the sinks off, get all the water out of the system. I'm looking and it's still coming out of the toilet, on the bottom of the toilet. I'm going, fuck, it's running in reverse.
Yeah.
It's some kind of suctioner happened, and now we were siphoning city water. Into the fucking house. It wasn't our water.
Yeah, because our water was off.
Yeah. So I'm going, what the fuck am I going to do? I'm running around the house. This shit went on for about 15, 20 minutes, didn't it?
Yeah, we were flipping
Trying to figure out how the fuck I was going to get that water to go the other way. So I went out to the kitchen. I put plunger. I said, I saw it start here, so it must have something to do with these sinks. I even dropped the sink trap to see if there was anything in it. Nothing in it. So I plug up both sinks, and I fucking fill both sinks up with fucking water. And Jenny's in the bathroom with the mop, trying to mop around the base of the toilet. And the water's a fucking 1/4 inch deep through the whole fucking bathroom.
Well, because it just kept coming out. Like,
yeah.
The bottom of the toilet was just like a little spigot that was coming out.
We had a wall of towels on either side of the damn tile floor so it wouldn't go in the closet of the bedroom. And Jenny's in there fighting the fucking water like she's bailing it out. Like she's bailing out a fucking sink of shit. When the sinks both filled up, I pulled the drain out of them. Weird fucking noises. Boom, 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 boom. And I hear Jenny screaming. I go fucking run to the bathroom. And she goes, look at this. Look at the toilet. The fucking water's coming up out of the toilet like that.
Because I was in there going, no.
I was going, the water's all running fucking backwards in the house. The water's fucking coming up. It's not going down.
We laugh about it now.
It's fucking coming up in the fucking... I said, we're going to fucking drown in our own goddamn house. What the fuck is going on? I grabbed the plunger real quick, dive in the damn toilet. I felt like I was in the toilet. Fucking went boom, 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 boom. And then all of a sudden, it's just like all the air sucked out of the room. And it all went down and fucking all the damn sinks and all the bathrooms.
All the tub.
Yeah, and it all just vanished. That was some shit like out of fucking Amityville Horror.
It was.
Some kind of reverse... vacuum happened.
Well, Tila was saying, wasn't there an issue a couple months ago with the plumbing, y'all? Yeah, it was the same thing. There was a backup in the tub, and that was causing...
And that caused it.
The weird thing about it...
Vent.
Yeah, the weird thing about it is that when that happened before, it only affects certain things.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Roboto.
Yeah.
Idea, supernatural waterbeds, monster movies, maybe. Oh, you know what? I don't think I've ever seen that movie. Yeah. Somebody should make that. But it doesn't affect... It only affects... our bathroom, so like toilet, sink, shower, tub.
Yeah.
The washing machine. Yeah. The sinks in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And what else?
That wing of the house must only have one drain pipe. It's all connected somehow.
Because the bathroom here by my office was completely not affected.
If anything happens with venting and it causes any kind of suction, somehow it was sucking water into the house.
From
somewhere else.
Because our water, he went outside and turned our water off.
Yeah.
And we turned the water off behind the back of the toilet too.
Yeah. It smelled like fresh water, but
it wasn't like before where it was like mostly smelled like sewage.
I don't know how. This is some shit for fucking a haunting, man. Put that on the haunting.
It is.
Episode.
I don't know what the fuck.
I couldn't figure out what had happened.
I mean,
I got it to go back down. There was like some kind of a vacuum or some kind of a, like, you know when you use a tube to siphon something?
Yeah.
To like siphon gasoline? Somehow that happened. Somehow the sewage started to run in reverse. I don't, maybe it happened, maybe it wasn't just our house. Maybe it happened to several houses around here.
I wonder.
I don't know.
Although I kind of wish, it's like, God, we
water.
pay enough rent for this place. You'd think that the landlords would have something to fucking have a plumber come look at this crap.
I have a feeling it's something the way the house is built.
Probably.
It's like there's not enough vents. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
That wing of the house all drains out through one pipe, and there probably should drain out through two.
Because the other time that it happened, it's always when the washing machine is going.
Yeah, it has something to do with the washing machine. It's weird.
So you
can't run too many things at once, or it'll make some kind of weird feedback loop.
Although there was nothing going. It's not like
the washing machine was.
Washing machine was going, but it wasn't like the shower was running. The dishwasher wasn't running.
And it somehow caused a plug in that back bathroom.
Yeah.
Because that toilet wasn't plugged, but it acted like it was plugged. It was like an air bubble in it. It was weird, man.
But it was just, we were freaking out because it was taking so long. And he kept jumping. He was like plunging the toilet, plunging the tub, plunging the shower, plunging the toilet, tub, shower. And it's just kind of, it's got to be in here somewhere.
Yeah.
Because we had fixed it before.
It has to be one of these.
It took like,
my God. Yeah. And then it took then we had to wash all those fucking towels. And we had to fucking wash.
Well, we're still washing them.
Still washing all the towels.
Because it's like 5 loads.
Yeah. And then fucking had to desanitize all the fucking tiles and all the surfaces. Had to fucking wash all the clothes. Had to take a bunch of showers.
Yeah,
at least it didn't
bleach everything.
It didn't seem like raw sewage.
It didn't stink. No. It was mostly, I mean, the water that was coming out from underneath the toilet was clean water.
Yeah, it was weird. It was clear.
Yeah.
It didn't smell like anything.
And even the water that was coming back up through the tub, that didn't seem like sewage. It seemed like black dye, like pipe water.
Yeah.
And it didn't smell like anything.
Weird.
Camp Guy says, get some liquid fire. It's a drain cleaner made out of sulfuric acid.
If they have it, I'd buy it.
That might be something we might want to look into.
Yeah.
I mean, we had some Drano, but I guess we ran out because I couldn't find it.
I can't figure out how the toilet is involved with this. You know what I mean? I don't understand.
That's another shirt. I can't figure out how the toilet is involved in this.
Yeah, somehow the toilet and somehow the washing machine drain was making a bunch of noise too. I don't know where it is.
I don't know either.
I don't know what the deal is.
But if it happens again, I'm gonna.
It's some Florida shit.
I'm gonna call the landlords.
It's Florida, okay? Florida was built pretty quickly, and in certain areas, especially down in Miami, construction might have been corrupt. I mean, we had a damn skyscraper fall a couple months back. This was a nice house, you know what I mean? But they build them very quickly, and the fixtures that they use are not all that great. A lot of the shit I had to replace.
Yeah.
Like all your little faucets and doorknobs, it's kind of cheesy.
Yeah, everything's just kind of like sort of a little bit cheap, Jack. Even though these are like, how much are these houses new? Like $400,000?
$425,000, $475,000. Like it would be $1.5 million house if it was in California.
Yeah, but they don't use real like high end fixtures and whatnot.
No, kind of stuff you have to replace every 10, 15 years.
Yeah, and the plumbing we've always kind of had plumbing issues. So.
And the central air isn't all that great. We had to replace some of the shit.
Well, actually, the central air has been replaced 2 times, I think.
2 times, yeah.
Even in the 10 years we've been here. I mean, Florida's
hard on all that.
It's hard on air conditioning units, to be fair.
It's hard on air conditioners. It's hard on car batteries.
That too.
Yeah.
Oh, we also had that happen.
That problem, right.
Where we went out to go somewhere and the battery was dead.
Yeah.
Yay! We have a portable charger thing though. Yeah. But yeah, so that was how we spent our day. But yeah, Tom had a nice birthday yesterday. We wanted to thank everybody for the gifts. Thank you very much, Esther, for sending Midsummer and Hereditary.
Yeah,
I'm super jazzed
asked for
about
those. I wanted them, and she heard what I was saying.
And I was I'm kind of like, yay, now I can watch Hereditary again. And I was like, oh shit, no, I don't know if I want to because I'm like all anxious about it.
Went to Koi Wa and I punished him. Behind that boiled shrimp. You don't put all you can eat boiled shrimp out in front of me, man. I had a fucking.
He's like, you said that it was all I can eat. I can eat all of that. I can eat all of that.
I had 3 plates. I had a plate to eat off of, a plate with all the shrimp on it, and a plate with all the hulls on it. And like 2 of them damn soup bowls full of the fucking cocktail sauce. And a bunch of lemons. Washed my hands, I ate that. And then I went in there and says, well, I'm just going to get just general chicken. So I got a couple different kinds of chicken, some braised peanut chicken. And
that was good, actually.
Yeah, and then I said, I'm going to punish them behind that steak. They had some steaks up there. They called it steak. I don't know what cut it was. It wasn't all that great, but it tasted good. But it was a little bit tough, but I didn't care. It was all you could eat. So I ate like 4 of them. I didn't eat any carbs, man. It was all protein.
Yeah, I didn't really eat that many. I didn't really eat that many carbs. Yeah. Well, the nice thing that we did was we went right at like a little bit past 11 because that's right when they open. Yeah. So then you know that all the shit's going to be fresh and it's not going to be crowded in there because it's a little bit early for people to be eating lunch, right?
Yeah.
There was a few people in there, but not too many.
Yeah.
And so everything was just put out, you know, and everything was like full and hot and it was all like really good. The thing about that though is that every time we go to the buffet, I'm always like, I look around and I'm like, ooh, and I'm just going to have some of this and some of that. And then I eat, like, I have a bowl of wonton soup usually. And then I have, like, some shrimp and a couple of oysters or scallops or whatever the fuck those things are. I have a couple of those. And then I'm like, oh, I'll have a little bit. I don't get any noodles or rice or anything like that. I just usually I get a little bit of pepper steak. I get a lot of fish. And then I have 1 plate of that. And I'm just like, nope, can't eat anymore. Like, he can eat, like, 3 or 4 plates.
I can eat anything.
I can't. I have, like, a little plate of kind of appetizer stuff and then a plate of a little bit of different thing that I'm just like, nope, I'm full. If I eat any more, I'm going to throw up. And then, you know, we didn't get any dessert there because I got you a cake.
Yeah.
So we picked up the cake on the way back. That's it.
That's Koi wants.
Yeah.
She wanted to know how the buffet was.
It was good yesterday, I thought. I mean, they had, like, really good stuff. They have, like, a whole, like, the sushi bar and all that kind of stuff, too. Dessert bar. It's massive. It's a massive place.
Yeah. Come on.
Maybe that's the last one.
Must be.
Thank you again, Mr. Roboto. Did Tom get a good cake and or the birthday song?
Hell yeah.
I got him the what is it called? The strawberry limonata cake from the Publix bakery, which I think was the same one you got last year because you really liked that one.
See, they got those koi ponds inside the restaurant.
Yeah, it's fancy.
Yeah, it's all kind of fancy. It's the bar.
Yeah, it's a massive place. But yeah, food was good.
The size of them koi. There's a little bridge. You see the footbridge. It goes over them. And they're begging for food when you're walking into the dining room. They're like, you know, feed me.
Yeah, it's got like fake racks and
yeah.
Or maybe they're real racks.
Yeah, it's like some shit out of Disney. Fake.
Yeah. Yeah, it was, and you know, they had really, really nice food yesterday and everything was kind of fresh. I didn't even get to eat everything I wanted to because I only got down 2 rows and I couldn't eat anymore, like in the 3rd or 4th rows.
They got...
even though there was stuff over there I wanted to eat, but oh well.
Hibachi grill.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. They have that too.
Yeah.
I forgot. Yeah, Mr. Roboto says Jenny Buffets is about pacing yourself. I try, but... I don't know. I really can't eat a large volume of food at once. Or, not to be gross, but it'll all come back right back up. But yeah, the cake you got was really good. We have some left, actually. We'll probably have some after the show. But Publix makes it. It's kind of like a vanilla cake or a lemon cake, and then it's got kind of lemon cream, and then it's got like strawberries in the middle and stuff. It's really good. I think for my birthday, I got one from the Publix bakery that was a... What did I say it was? It was a cannoli cake.
Yeah.
With rum in it.
We noticed that Sandra's breasts are still flying in the wind. I don't know what it was about. I don't know why I said it.
But that's...
Said I'd have to remember what that was about.
Yeah, I don't remember what the context was, but like I said, that sounds like something you would say. Tila said, I know y'all said there was a bar there, any drinks from the bar. We didn't get any drinks from the bar. It was a little... I mean, even for us, it was a little early in the day to be drinking.
That's the kind of place where they would charge you a lot for a drink and it'd be really weak.
Well, yeah. Most of those places are kind of like... That's kind of where you go. It's like, oh, we're going to have one with lunch. And it's like, so they're not going to give you something that's going to get you hammered, you know?
If you were going to get an alcoholic drink there, you want to get one of those flaming bowls, like a flaming fun bowl. Yeah, you want
like a super, super fancy.
Yeah, it's got a big old bowl and
umbrellas and shit.
Big old long straws. You get like that. Yeah, they probably have about 4 or 5 different ones, you know, the Blue Lagoon and shit.
I bet they do. I bet they do have those. I've never actually looked over there at the bar.
I'm sure they do.
There was a guy sitting over there yesterday, but I didn't see what he was drinking. Mr. Roboto asked, is the cannoli cake good? It was fucking delicious. Actually, every single different cake that I've gotten from the Publix bakery has been fucking delicious, no matter what kind it is. And they have like a fuck ton of different kinds. But it was kind of like, I can't quite remember, but it had like cannoli, the stuff that's in the middle of the cannoli, whatever. Isn't that like some kind of fucking cheese or something? I don't even remember.
Yeah, cannoli. No, cannoli's an Italian dessert.
Yeah, I know that.
It's like a sweet kind of cream cheese.
Yeah, that's what I just said, cream cheese.
Yeah, in a little rolled up pastry.
So it was like that, but then it had like kind of a hard chocolate shell on the outside. It had some rum in it, so it was kind of rum tasting. And then it had 2 or 3 little mini cannolis like on the top, like for decoration. It was fabulous. But, you know. Yeah, so I also want to say, okay, so I said thanks to Esther for the movies. Also, Dermot, I don't know if he's here, from the UK, sent you an Amazon gift card.
Oh, he did?
For Amazon UK.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just finding out about this now.
Yeah.
You must have got it.
Yeah, he sent it to my email.
Okay.
Which we should be able to use it. I could probably use it through my VPN, I would imagine.
Probably get a movie or something with it.
Yeah.
Get a Blu-ray.
And then I think we thanked Tammy already for sending us the money and that hilarious card.
Yeah.
With the lady with the boobs.
Oh, yeah. She was awesome. Got that handy?
It's right. Show
them that again.
Yeah, in case you guys didn't see it. This was, what does it say on it?
She's just...
Oh, it's the birthday aging quiz.
She's just bimboed out. Yep.
Yeah. And then the quiz question is, what color is her purse?
Yeah. What color is her purse?
But like I said, to be fair, I didn't notice what color her purse was either. Kind of hard not to.
Yeah.
Look at the card that I gave him yesterday, because you know I had to get this. Look, it's Pookie with a tail,
flying on a pizza with space,
and eating pizza.
Eating pizza in space.
The funny story behind this was that, we've kind of weirdly gotten into a thing like the last few years where we try to get each other cards for birthday and Christmas that have cats that look as much like Pookie on them.
Yeah.
I don't know why we started doing that. But I was in St. Augustine and I was in the post office because I was mailing a t-shirt to somebody. And I saw that card in the rack while I was waiting in line. And I was like, get the fuck out of here. I was like, that looks almost exactly like Pookie, except she has a tail. Yeah. And I was just like, oh, yeah, Tom's birthday is in 2 weeks. Because this was a couple weeks ago. So I was like, well, I'm getting that shit. But then, like, after I bought it, I was like, didn't I give you that card before for something else? Are you sure?
I don't think I've ever seen it.
Because now it seemed like weirdly familiar.
No, I don't think so. Think about it. That's awesome. Pookie riding on a pizza, eating pizza, flying through space.
That sounds like something Pookie would do.
With slices of pizza in pursuit. See?
Are they pursuing, or are they? They're pizza angels, and they're accompanying her.
Show it to him.
To Pookie Valhalla.
Yeah.
Pookie Pizza Valhalla.
Yeah, Pookie flying through space on a pizza, eating pizza.
I don't really think Pookie likes pizza though. Pizza following behind.
He's following her, yeah.
That's her battalion of flying pizza slices.
Yeah.
I don't really think it's if you're eating, she likes to come up and like kind of go like that and be like, "What you got?" And then she'll kind of like stick her face close to it. Very rarely will she try to eat it because usually she's like, "You people food." The only thing she seems to like is anything with whipped cream on it. Like if something has whipped cream on it, she'll kind of be like, "Oh." No. And she'll kind of lick it. But if it's just regular kind of people food, she's not really that into it. She just wants to see what it is. I don't really understand why she
she just wants to enjoy it with you. She doesn't want to taste it. She just wants to watch you eat it and look at it.
Yeah, she just wants to look at it.
She's judging your food. I've seen her judge it. There's only one thing that she actually ate along with me, and I gave her some, and that was whipped cream.
Yeah, just that.
Gave her some whipped cream. She liked that. But she loses her patience for human food. She's like, she looks at it, and she tastes it for a little while. She tastes it a couple times, and she goes, okay. And then
these aren't temptations.
Okay, I'll go. And I don't think it has a taste that she's looking for. They can't taste sweet, so our shit probably doesn't taste like anything.
Maybe she just likes whipped cream because it smells like milky.
I don't know.
I would imagine. Tila says, I have a cat that loves spinach and kale. That's weird.
It's because spinach stinks. It smells a little bit like fish.
Yeah, I guess so.
When it's cooked. Sometimes, depends.
Beijing kind of likes Parmesan.
Cats love things that stink. They don't have much of a taste. I don't think they taste very much, but they can smell real well. And things that stink, man, they love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're weird like that.
Yeah.
Esther said Pookie needs her own show.
She kind of had one a little bit. She had some commercials.
And Sandra said, we haven't seen Pookie's butt in forever. Yeah, she hasn't come up. And the weird thing is she's been in here, like, all day.
She's chilled out a lot.
Like, farting around. Yeah. She didn't jump up on here, though, because there's too much crap on here.
Yeah.
You know what that little brat did earlier was the closet door was open because she just kept scratching and scratching, like, wanting to go in the closet. And I'm like, dude, there's nothing in there. And she's like, I don't care. I want to go in there anyway. I'm like, fine. So I opened it, and she went in there. And then later on, I had to record something, so I had to close it so the light would bounce off. And I looked in there, I was like, Pookie, Pookie, and I couldn't see her, so I closed it. And then like half an hour later, I see her paw come out from under the closet door. Right. I'm like, hey, Mommy, I'm in here. I fooled you. But I didn't see her, like, when I went in there.
Yeah. Okay, so today's show is going to be a serial killer show. I don't know anything about it.
You know what? I feel I didn't know anything about this one either. I came across this case completely accidentally. I don't even remember how I came across this one. I think I was looking in one of those, because periodically when I'm trying to think of topics for the show to put into the poll, I'll go to some of those, top 100 unsolved mysteries or whatever. And I was scrolling through this one and I was just kind of like, a serial killer, a possible serial killer. They're not entirely sure if all of these crimes were committed by the same person. I suspect that at least some of them were. Maybe not all of them, but we'll see. And they're like, yeah, it was this killer called the Coast Fiend. And this is from the 1930s. And I was like, what the fuck? I never heard of this.
Yeah.
And then I found pretty much the only sources I found online for this. There was like one kind of long blog post that sort of went into it. And then there was, I actually found some contemporaneous like newspapers from the time, like the San Diego Union Tribune and stuff, like from the early 1930s. And they had been digitized. So there were, but I couldn't find it by looking for Coast Fiend. I had to look for each victim's name individually. And then I found like all the articles. So I went back to like the original newspaper articles from the 30s, most of which had been digitized. And that's when I found it, because they didn't start calling the killer the Coast Fiend until later on. So it wasn't really that name. And I don't think, I mean, unless somebody has better search skills than me, the only other video that I found on YouTube that even mentioned the Coast Fiend was one, I think it was like 13 most mysterious unsolved murder cases. And it kind of went, it's like the Cleveland Torso Murderer and Black Dahlia and stuff like that. And I tried to listen to it, but it was one of those ones that was robo-voiced. And I was just like, oh yeah, I can't listen to that for too long because it gets on my nerves. But that was the only, there was no, I didn't see any other true crime shows that it covered. I think there were a couple of podcasts that sort of talked about it, but I didn't see any YouTube shows that had covered it. So, and I had never heard of it before either. So I feel like this is kind of one that is really not all that well remembered, to be honest. And that doesn't usually happen. I don't usually come across like a completely unheard of. And it's sad too, because this should have probably gone into the first volume of my Faceless Villain book. But because it didn't come up, there just wasn't a lot of info on it. So it didn't end up getting in there.
T's in there talking about pizza. Which reminds me, I got to make some pizza for tomorrow. Because we got to finish up those sliced mushrooms. Those sliced mushrooms are starting to get kind of dark.
Oh yeah, make me a mushroom.
Yeah, make some mushroom pizza tomorrow. I got to make us some dough for tonight.
Okay.
So it'll be ready tomorrow. Maybe when the kids come over, I'll give them pizza.
Yeah, the kids are coming.
The kids. We call them the kids. But T, did you see episode 2 of fucking Spartacus yet? That shit is fucking good, man. You know what everybody else is doing.
Yeah, we. What was I gonna say?
I don't know. Don't matter.
What do you mean? What do you mean it doesn't matter?
Don't matter. We can just start the show.
Doesn't matter what I'm gonna say.
Probably something about the show. Something about the main topic, probably.
No, I don't think it was. I think it was something
unrelated. Must have Spartacus.
No, it wasn't that either.
Yeah.
Just, I don't remember what it was.
It's gonna be all right. It's gonna be all right. We're still on the first drink.
That's true. Yeah, well, I'm thinking about all the fucking house flooding that we were dealing with earlier and fucking...
Yeah, that was a bitch.
Yeah, I know.
It was just time of the year.
I know, and I was just sitting there going, why?
I don't know. I don't know. It was just some kind of weird thing that happened. It's a culmination of a bunch of different situations happening at once. It had something to do with the vacuum.
Now I'm afraid to use the fucking washing machine.
No, you can use the washing machine. I'm not going to get back into it. Because we used the washing machine all the time. It was just a weird thing that happened. Maybe it didn't have anything to do with us. Maybe it might have happened in several houses over here.
Maybe.
There's no telling.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't explain it. It's paranormal. Maybe it was paranormal.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think so. I think it was just some kind of an air bubble, air pocket got
it better not be paranormal.
In there.
Man,
some kind of a clog.
If somebody's gonna haunt us, why can't they do cool shit?
I don't know. Some kind of clog somewhere.
Well, yeah. I mean, obviously that's what it was because we plunged the shit out of stuff. Well, you plunged the shit out of stuff and it solved it eventually. Right. Tila said, not yet, Tom. So busy. I did watch the first episode of The Terror. We discussed that last stream. Yeah. I'm hooked on that too. Yeah, I really like that. That's really good.
I didn't like The Terror that much. It was okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I know Ridley Scott did a good job on it. It wasn't his fault. It's the book, I think. And I didn't really give a shit about the story. Just, just didn't really give a shit about the story.
Well, like I said, I like that book a lot more than the Dan Simmons one that I talked about, like on my book review show. Although I didn't like either of them as much as I liked Drood, which I eventually am gonna reread and do like a review on. I love that fucking book. Dan Simmons has written like a bunch of stuff. I've read like all his horror and his historical fiction. He's written a lot of sci-fi too, but I haven't read that. I don't read a lot of sci-fi. I mostly just like horror and nonfiction, to be honest with you.
I'm gonna make another drink. I'm getting sick of the way this steak tastes. It's not mixed right.
He said it tastes funny.
It tastes funny, yeah.
We're gonna have to do some black velvets later.
Yeah, okay.
When I get to the bottom of this cocktail. I'm not gonna like... Should I also rewatch Last King of Scotland? That's a damn good... I know, man, I need to see that one again, too. God damn it, I got so much fucking shit I gotta watch. Okay, so... all right, where was I? All right, so we're going to talk about this here possible serial killer. Now, I will say it's weird because a couple of the sources, like I said, there's not a huge amount of information about this, but I did try to go back to the original newspaper accounts where they were, because most of them had actually been digitized, which was cool. So I did actually get to go back to the original source on most of the victims. But I didn't have access to like a lot of the investigation that went on at the time. So I'm not sure why exactly the cops thought that all of these crimes were necessarily related, or not so much that, because I think there were at least 4 of them that I think were almost certainly related. The other ones, maybe not so much. And like the last one in the series, I don't think was related, but it's possible it could be because it was like a different victim profile. But I don't know. We'll see how that goes and what you guys think about it. But is that tasting better?
Yeah, it tastes better.
Yeah.
That's coconut vodka and with some
with some
pineapple juice.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
See, I'm being tropical, and when this is a Florida story, You know what I mean?
This isn't a Florida story. This is a San Diego story.
San Diego.
It's
okay.
San Diego.
I thought it'd be Florida.
Close enough. Well, not really, but you know. Right. It's still kind of...
I thought you said it was Florida.
No.
Okay.
No, it's San Diego.
For some reason, I was thinking Florida. What'd you say that made me think of Florida? You said coast, right?
Yeah.
I was going to
See, you just... Well, there's coasts all over the United States.
Just, you know. All right. He just wants to fuck with me. God damn it. God damn it.
Oh, already.
God damn it.
He's busting this one out. Oh, you guys.
God damn it.
You guys.
Damn it. Your shit's going. This shit here. This is appropriate. How you doing there, buddy? How you doing?
You want me to hold your beer?
Nah, I'm all right. I'm good.
I told you needed a can.
Go ahead, little darling. Go ahead on with the show.
I told you needed a Budweiser.
Yeah.
As a prop for this, if you were gonna do it. You look like Rousdower.
I don't know who that is. I don't know who that is.
Those who watch Mystery Science Theater will know who that is.
Yeah. I'm just oh man. Damn, I'm fine.
It's not quite resonating because you still have a shirt on.
Yeah, I need to take the shirt off. Trying to get me to take my shirt off.
Well, I'm just saying that you kind of need the whole. You need like you know what would actually be better than that was having no shirt and then having overalls.
Yeah.
Over the no shirt.
That's my kind of woman. That's a man's kind of woman. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Fucking A, man. Fucking A.
He told me last because he just got that wig yesterday. Sophie said it.
Fucking A, man.
She was also the one that sent him the Elvis wig and the Mozart / Thomas Jefferson wig.
Unleash my inner honky, man. Come on. Say, man, put that Foreigner song on. Right. The Eye of the Tiger. Yeah, put that shit on.
Eye of the Tiger is a Foreigner.
Whatever, Journey.
Survivor.
It's all the same. You trying to take my redneck card? God damn.
Well, I should because I can't believe
trying to take my redneck
I can't believe you don't know the difference between those three bands. I mean,
it's all the same.
I'm taking redneck points off for that. Tila says hashtag Florida man.
It's all the same. Hold on one second. Hold on. There we go. No. Go ahead, little darling. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Party on.
Go ahead.
I just can't take it seriously. But yeah, he got it in the mail last night. And he put it on, and he's like walking around. He was like practicing. He's like, I need to develop a character for this wig. He needs to develop a character.
What I need is a tiger. I need some tigers and some lions.
Oh my god. It looks crooked.
I think it is. Ain't nothing crooked on here, man. I'm straight as fuck. Straight as fuck. How's it? No, how does it go?
Yeah, I feel like
ain't got a mirror.
Well, you have to. You're pulling it the wrong way. I do that too because
I ain't got a mirror. Come on.
Oh, that's way better.
Is that better? Is that better, little darling?
No, now the part's way over on the other side.
Fix it. I can't see.
Oh my god. It's like, what the fuck, man?
That's my ear. You can't move that. She grabbed my ear and tried to pull it.
Well, I didn't know it might have been part of the wig.
Oh my god. Knock it off.
It's like, well, God, man.
Y'all need to knock it off.
Only like half an hour into the show, and you're like fucking
getting ready to fucking sing some. Get ready to sing some.
You already like made me laugh so hard that like my eyes are watering.
Getting ready to sing some Leonard Skinner.
And all my makeup's gonna run off. Oh my god.
Ooh, that smell! Can't you smell that smell? Hell yeah! That smell is going around you.
How does that song go? It's smell of death surrounds you.
No, it's always the smell of weed.
I don't know. I thought he said death. I didn't think he said weed. I haven't heard that song in a long time. Yeah, Sandra said, I think that's my favorite wig.
Yeah.
I mean, you know. Yeah, Tammy said we've only been on 34 minutes already. It's like, how the hell am I even going to get through this? At least this case isn't all that complicated.
The guy from They Live, can't remember, that was Roddy Piper.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. He had his special glasses that he could see that.
Yeah, we reviewed that a while back.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
Yeah, I like that movie. It's John Carpenter.
Yeah.
Saying it, yeah, Tom looks great. I feel like this is the one that most exemplifies the inner Tom.
Yeah.
You know?
All I need is my bow. I'm gonna go get my bow.
Like I said, you need to have no shirt and then have overalls on.
Yeah.
Overalls with only one strap done and then one strap loose.
Yeah, that's too stereotypical.
Well, yeah, that's the whole point of that. Also, you should put a pillow in it so it makes like a big like beer belly. You know what I mean?
I'm actually ready to fucking just like start a rock band. Hold on one second.
Is that what happens when you put that kind of wig on? It's just like instant. Automatically, it's just like kind of goes right into your brain.
Hand me my guitar, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, man. See? I got a flying V, man. Flying V.
Oh my god.
Fucking A, dude. Come on, man. Start the show.
Okay, you really want me to, or are you just gonna like?
No, for real.
Are you gonna play air guitar?
No, I'm being serious. I'm fucking being serious. Like, I'm not joking.
You're being serious.
Yeah, I'm being very serious.
I don't think you are. I don't think you are though.
Good.
All right. So, sing some Iron Maiden. Tom's got cat scratch fever. Yeah. All right. Serial killers. This is a serious issue. At least it happened a long time ago, so I don't have to feel like too bad, even though it's terrible. So this is a case that occurred in the San Diego area. See, why do you do this to me?
Nothing. I'm getting ready to go, man.
Okay. Why do you do this?
Nah, I'm just part of the show, man. I'm getting ready to go. Come on,
okay, I'm just gonna try and not look at you. I'm gonna
piss.
try and not look at you.
Okay, all right.
On the opposite side, says Tila, Tom could also do a surfer accent. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Xanada said that wig is totally Swayze. Yeah, because you sound like... She's like the wind. You could have done that, too. Tom Jovi. Said Sandra. Yeah, that was a good one. All right, so in the San Diego area, between 1931 and 1938, there were between 4 and 7 crimes. I'm not saying there were like 7 crimes, but they're not sure if they're all the same person, although I suspect that most of them probably were, that they have attributed to a serial killer that they later dubbed the Coast Fiend. So, as I said, I'm not really sure. The last one I'm pretty sure is maybe not the same killer, but the other ones maybe so. Jesus Christ. Really?
I had to up my game.
Yeah, Icarus 72, serial killer in California, I'd never heard of. 1930s, that's why. Yeah, I had never heard of it either. I just came across it accidentally while I was researching something else. So, you know. You look like you should be in Anvil.
No. Fucking, what's the name? Guns N' Roses.
Yeah,
Guns N' Roses. Fucking right.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so
way too cool for Anvil.
Are you sure about
that?
that?
Way too cool for Anvil.
Are you sure about that?
I'm just trying to get through the show. That's all.
Are you?
I'm just trying to get through the show.
He does this. I swear to God, he's doing this on purpose. He's doing this on purpose.
Jenny thinks I'm fucking with her.
Yeah, you are.
Okay.
You are fucking with me.
No, I'm not fucking with you.
Drummer Van Halen. Let's be serious now. Okay. Now, the first murder in the series took place on February 11th, 1931. Now, this was a little 10-year-old girl named Virginia Brooks, and she was on her way to school. She was walking along University Avenue in San Diego. She had her school books in one hand and a little bouquet of flowers for her teacher in the other hand. The school she was going to is Euclid School. Not sure if it's still there or not. Probably not. The last time she was seen by anyone Her older brother rode past her on his bike and waved to her. And after that, she disappeared. She was missing for a month. A month after her disappearance, and 10 miles away from where she was last seen, there was a guy who was like a shepherd, sheep herder dude, named George Moses. Him and his dog were walking around, and they found a gunny sack that was laying under some sagebrush on the Camp Kearney Mesa, 2 miles beyond the northern rim of the city. He looked in the bag, and little Virginia's body was in there. Now, an article from the Time, this came out at the time that the body was found. It said, 2 strands of matted blonde hair found in the hand of the dead child furnished a possible aid in the hunt, but were of no value until suspects were found. Obviously, this is 1930s, so they didn't have DNA or anything like that. The girl's body decapitated and with the arms removed.
Damn.
It was all in there. Somebody dismembered her and put her in a bag.
How old was she again?
10.
So she was pretty big, actually.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, found in a burlap gunny sack.
He must have been trying to make her smaller?
I really don't know. I couldn't tell you. I mean,
but it was all in the same bag.
Yeah.
So it wasn't.
I've heard it's
smaller.
weird because I've heard like one of the articles said that, you know, it just said her body was in the bag, and then and one said she was, that she was like wearing her clothes, but then another one I read said that her clothes had been removed, but they were in like a separate bag in that bag. You know what I mean? Like her body was and there was another bag in there that had her clothes in it. So I'm not sure which one, but it was all in the bag.
I'm already getting a bad feeling about the shit.
Well, I would hope so.
Yeah.
This is not good in any universe, what is happening.
Dude raped her, and he cut the head and the arms off. It wasn't to make her smaller and to get rid of the body. He was into that shit. He wanted to see what it looked like for some reason.
Yeah. And she was raped, actually.
Yeah. Because a lot of times when a body's dismembered, that's not really the reason why the murder happened. You know what I mean? They weren't into that too much. They were just trying to make it smaller to get it out of an apartment in smaller bags.
Yeah, like it's like fucked up, but it's like a practical.
Something more like practical
motive.
Shit.
Yeah.
They're trying to make it smaller and lighter so they can carry it. You know, maybe they're not that strong, I guess. It's weird. I mean, I don't understand it. We used to carry 120-pound deer around. You know, you get the guts out of it. They're pretty light after that. But, you know, they're not experienced in dealing with, you know, animals or anything, you know, field dressing deer or anything. So they just kind of say, well, I'll cut the head off and the arms and the legs off and it'll be lighter and smaller. And I'll be able to get it out of this apartment without attracting attention. Which actually I think probably would increase the chances of you attracting attention. Just put it in a big box or something. Be open with it, you know.
Just a pro tip.
Yeah.
Well, I think we brought this up on the show before. I'm not like giving tips to like murderers out there or anything, but it does seem that sometimes, not so much nowadays, because nowadays you can like track everything. But back in the old days, like a lot of people got away with killing people just by putting them out on the street with the garbage collection. Because once it was taken out to the dump, at least back then, they couldn't really trace all that well where it had come from. They can now, but back then they couldn't. I mean, at least they can trace it to within like a certain neighborhood.
Well, usually it took weeks before the person was ever even noticed missing, and they wouldn't have known why. It was over there somewhere where we dumped from that week, and you know, a lot of time had passed. Birds and shit.
Gramthars Hammer said, I have a 10-year-old daughter and a 9mm for any creep walking around with a burlap bag. Yeah. I mean, she was just, and it was like the morning. She was riding her fucking bicycle to school, and like some fucking monster like snatched her off her bike and.
Yeah. The burlap bag was for the body, though. That was probably didn't have anything to do with her being alive.
Well, no. And here's the creepy thing.
Yeah.
So when they found the body, it was in the burlap sack, right? Now, what they found at the scene, they found some tire tracks from kind of a narrow-tired car, like an older model, leading away from the spot. Now, they thought that because where the burlap sack was laying, like when they picked it up, like the grass underneath like sprang back. So they said, okay, well, this bag has not been here for very long. So they conjectured that whoever had killed this little girl had kept the corpse, either kept it in their house or kept it someplace else, and had only just dumped the bag there, maybe 12 hours max, like beforehand. And they said too that where it was dumped, you would have been able to see it from the highway. Like you would have been able to see him from the highway. So they said the body couldn't have been there very long, even though it was clear that she'd been dead at least 3 weeks. So he had been keeping the body somewhere else before it was dumped in this particular spot, and they're not really entirely.
He was having sex with it.
But, I hate to say, but it was probably something like that.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's something that they would have reported.
Not back then.
In the 30s.
That might have been something that they didn't even think happened in the 30s. You didn't have a national crime thing like fucking FBI. You didn't have that. And they didn't share information. In the 30s, they didn't really know what a serial killer was. None of that had been codified.
Yeah.
They just would have said some kind of sex fiend. That's what they would have said.
In the papers that I looked at, they called them a degenerate.
Degenerate, yes.
That was the word they kept using.
Right.
That it was a degenerate.
I don't think they had the concept that a person would do this continually, or that it was like a sexual orientation. They were just sex fiend. That's usually how it was referred to in the papers that I read. Or old newspapers would say, well, a woman attacked, killed, murdered by a sex fiend.
Yeah.
They didn't really know what they were dealing with. They didn't know how to picture the offender either. They were thinking, it must be a monstrous looking, type
They
person.
did always kind of
think
it was
like that. Some kind of a retarded person. That's kind of what they thought. They thought it was somebody mentally handicapped, somebody who would be obviously fucked up looking. No, they didn't realize it might have been one of the cops, or it might have been a mailman, or it might have been a school teacher. They didn't think like that.
Well, yeah, and like I said, a lot of times serial killers get away with shit longer if they're kind of normal looking, obviously.
Yeah. Right. It's like camouflage.
Because if you go around looking like bizarre, everyone's going to notice you, right?
Yeah.
If you go around looking like a normal-ass human being, no, you can do all kind of shit, and no one will notice. So, yeah, so they found, like I said, they found the tire tracks. And they also found some fingerprints, like on, I guess, one of the little girl's books that was found by the body. And they found like some kind of garbage on the bottom of the sack that also had fingerprints on it. But because they didn't have a suspect to match it to, obviously, they couldn't catch the person that had done it. This is really sad because the papers at the time, the chief of police, whose name was Paul Hayes, after they found the body, he was quoted in the paper as saying, "We are closing in on the killer and expect to have him in custody within 24 hours." And then this many decades later, they still don't know who killed this little girl, which is like really fucked up.
Read what Gramthars said.
Where is it?
Right there. Bob.
Serial killers don't get far these days. Yeah, they don't. Not just DNA. Facial recognition technology can match photos from surveillance cameras to state-issued IDs like driver's licenses. I've used it before. Yeah, it's like, I think maybe that might be partially why serial killers don't get the traction that they used to have. One, because I think, we talked about before the psychological thing where, if there's something like the matter with you, if you have some kind of mental illness or something like that, you can find like a support group usually like online or something. So it's less likely that you'll, be in isolation and that'll like fuck you up. And also, now I think they catch people before. I mean, if you do like some kind of serial killer type of crime, like this kind of shit, like cutting up a little girl and putting her in a bag, that's definitely the serial killer behavior, but I think they would catch you before you got that far with it. Like maybe it would just be one.
It depends. It's amazing what they can do today. I mean, when I was in service, you could get live action video from a spy satellite at night and get a pretty good damn image on thermal of guys fucking slugging it out. But evidently what they can do today is fucking fantastic. You could get a spy satellite can see a house everywhere around the house simultaneously from different angles and be able to zoom in and actually read what kind of cigarettes a dude is smoking. They can go down and look at the grass and see blades of grass from a fucking satellite.
Yeah.
I was just amazed. He's talking about the facial recognition. It makes you wonder what facial recognition and spy satellites linked can do. Because I know that they can see human faces. Can they put that through a supercomputer and hash it through all the spy satellites looking for that face? It'd be fucking amazing.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, if they can't do that now, I'm sure that technology is not that far away.
I mean, you probably wouldn't have to know the general area of where that person may be to search for it in that area. Because search the whole world, of course, that's a lot of fucking faces. But you know what I mean? I'd imagine you could position a couple of spy satellites over a fucking country and say, I think he's in this city somewhere, and have that thing just sit there and scour faces over and over 24/7, waiting to see that guy.
Then they'd be like,
it's amazing.
Busted. Yeah.
And then I imagine it could also get into people's phones and surreptitiously get into people's phone cameras and wait till that fucking face appears in somebody's fucking camera.
Yeah.
And go, there he is. What phone is that? Imagine what they can do. Fuck.
Well, like I said, that's not crazy. They can do similar kind of shit like that right now. Yeah. So that's not that weird.
They could probably do it, but it'd be illegal, but I know that they do it anyway.
Well, that never stopped anyway.
No, it doesn't stop. Okay, hold on. Let me go back to kind of like normal. I was hung up too much in the fucking rock era.
Yes, yeah. I see that.
Yeah, it's just getting.
It's got a little belly there for the ladies. For the ladies.
Who's that?
You.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's so early.
Yeah.
So we have Jeffy Art saying greetings from South Florida. Well, hey there from Central Florida. How are you doing? He says, glad to be here. By the way, I just finished both The Elementals and Suffer the Children per Jenny's Tomes of Terror. Both were intense. Yes, those were both very awesome books. The Elementals is by Michael McDowell. And actually, I just read another Michael McDowell book called Cold Moon Over Babylon. And I'm putting up a review for that on Monday or Sunday if you're a patron. That was also very good. I need to read more of his shit. I bought another one too called The Amulet, and I'm going to be reading that one as well. But he writes like he'd passed away sadly, but he writes like a lot of really cool, creepy, like Southern Gothic type horror. So you know, so this particular article said that the little girl was still dressed, like she had a little the little white dress on, little brown coat. And she had been raped, but they think, like I said, that she had been killed probably within hours of being kidnapped that morning of February 11th. You know, and then he had kept, like, her corpse around.
He kept her, was using her as a sex doll.
I kind of feel like that's probably what was going on. They weren't really sure what the cause of death was because she had been decapitated, which is horrible. They said she didn't have like a skull fracture or anything like that, so it's possible that she could have been strangled, which likely seems like the most likely thing, because that's usually what these type of dirtbags do.
Well, he wanted her body, didn't want it all mangled up.
Well,
so choked her out.
Yeah, that's fucking
choked her out, which is the more humane way to go. If you ever been in a wrestling match and a guy puts you in a sleeper hold, it's like that. So that's what he did.
Yeah, I mean,
put her out of her misery.
That's
because it's better to go that way than to fucking rape her alive for a few days and then kill her. Might as well just kill her.
Yeah.
It's you know what I mean? Save her all that fucking worrying over it. Nasty motherfucker.
Yeah, I guess so.
Well, here's the thing, man. This is the thing that always fucking blew my mind. This is some kind of sexual orientation. This is part of his fetish to do this. It's not normal. Not bad at all.
Well, fuck yeah. Okay. I'm glad it's not.
Right. This idea where you're gonna just totally waste a person and fucking take their life from them just to like bust a nut. You know what I mean? That's fucking insane.
Yeah.
That's fucking insane.
Yeah. It is.
I mean, it's more understandable to me just a rapist. A guy just raped her, but he lets her go. You know what I mean? He didn't think it was a big deal, and it wasn't a big deal enough to him to kill her. You know? And at least she survives it. This motherfucker does it, rapes some chick, even a little girl, and then kills her over it.
And then dismembers her.
And then keeps her around for a little. I think he kept her around for a while. I think he dismembered her at the end when he was done with her.
Yeah, they didn't say, none of the articles said at which point that she had been dismembered.
That was after a few days, I think.
Because, obviously nowadays they can tell, like, they'd cut the head off while they were still alive, or they cut the head off, like, just a few days later.
It's kind of like Jeffrey Dahmer. Jeffrey Dahmer really wanted a living sex doll.
Yep.
This dude just wanted a sex doll. She didn't have to be alive. No, that's what was going on. I bet there's a chance that he didn't even rape her while she was alive. He probably did it after she was dead. Yeah. And my theory is based on stuff that I read from the FBI and also from what surviving serial killers have said, including Dahmer. He was one of them. A lot of these serial killers kind of have kind of like performance anxiety. They don't like to be watched when they're having sex. They don't want anybody else to be there.
Yeah.
They want to have sex with somebody, and they don't want that person to be there.
Yeah.
So that's one of the reasons why they kill them. It's because they're afraid of being judged.
Yep.
As being inadequate. So they want sex to be kind of like a private act. One step away from masturbation. They're masturbating with a damn dead corpse.
But see, that's what I don't understand. Why don't they just get a sex doll then? They make really
30s.
Realistic ones now.
They didn't have that back in the 30s.
Well, yeah, I know that. I mean, nowadays there's no excuse. Just get one of those. That's just like having sex with a person, sort of. If you're into like them just not moving around.
I think the dudes that were into this, though, all right, especially back in these days, got off on the fact that used to be a living person.
Yeah, it definitely.
That's part of it.
I'm sure that there's a difference between people that, well, I just don't want to be judged, so I'll have sex with a sex doll, and that's fine.
No, it'd have to be a person.
But it would have to be a person that used to be alive. Or,
right. So there's a necrophilia aspect.
Yeah, because that's like part of the thrill of it for them. That's part of it, right. That's fucked up. One weird thing that was brought up in one of the old newspaper accounts was that some of the cops, when they first found the body, thought that there had been like acid burns, or there was like some kind of acid on the body, which immediately made me think of the Cleveland torso murders, because in a couple of those victims, which was also the 1930s, even though it was in the Midwest and not on the West Coast, a couple of those victims had like something that was like some kind of chemical or like some kind of like something that made their skin leathery. And that was like the first thing that I thought of. But then when they did the autopsy on this little girl, they said, no, it's probably not acid. But it's interesting to me how they brought that up, because that really made me think of like the Cleveland torso murder shit. Because at least all the Cleveland torso murder victims didn't have that. But I think 2 or 3 of them did, where it had like these weird chemical burns or like some kind of weird leathery stuff, like somebody had put like some chemicals on their skin or whatever.
Was like, why don't they just go the Bill Cosby route? Why do they kill him? Actually, I think the Bill Cosby route was another power play.
Well, obviously, yeah.
Bill Cosby didn't want to. Bill Cosby, in the days that he was doing, he could get laid. He didn't have to fucking drug women. He wanted to drug women. There was a power thing. He wanted them to be helpless around him, and like I said, also they couldn't judge him during that. That was part of his little fucking thing. He thought that was fun, I guess.
Yeah,
I can't believe they let that dude out.
I can't believe that either.
But that just shows you how this shit's fucking falling apart. It's not just him; a bunch of other shit's happening.
You know who else got out today? That little girl, one of the little girls that well, they didn't kill the little girl, but remember the 2 girls that stabbed their friend for Slender Man?
They let her out?
The one that didn't actually do it, the one that just watched.
The one that was there. Right.
She'd been in a psychiatric hospital for 3 or 4 years. And all the doctors said she wasn't a threat anymore. The one that actually did it is still in there. But
those were young girls. They were kind of dumb, though.
Yeah, I'm not really sure how I felt about it.
Changed a lot during those times.
Like just about an hour ago, I saw the headline, and I was kind of like, well, I don't know. I mean, they were really little, and it's like I saw like a lot of interviews with them, and they seemed like they had no fucking idea.
Yeah.
Like what the hell they were. I mean, they really believed like Slender Man was real, and I don't know. So I get, and at least they didn't kill that little girl. They stabbed her like 19 times, and that girl, like a badass, like fucking crawled, and got help, and she survived. But I don't know. It was like a fucking weird ass case. But yeah, they let that little girl out today.
We're heading towards a reorganizational period, if you ask me. Some of these states, their institutions are fucking falling apart, which that happens If you look throughout history, this is a part of the fucking cycle. It's not the apocalypse. It's always a new beginning. It's not going to be, depending on where you live, it's not going to be easy. But in the long run, it's all going to work out. A balance is usually struck eventually. Unless you live in an insane fucking place like North Korea. And I don't think the American people let it get that crazy.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gramthars Hammer said Cosby beat the rap because the prosecution used his testimony from a civil case where he was assured his statements would not be used against him in a criminal case. So it's a technicality.
Yeah.
Is why the shit got overturned. Which, that happens, but can they prosecute him for something else? Or can they prosecute him again?
Well, they can make his life a living hell from here on out, probably civil cases.
I think that might be the route to go. I mean, because that's kind of what that's what they had to do with OJ and all that other shit.
The whole OJ thing, I believe OJ did that.
I do too.
Yeah.
Allegedly. Don't sue me.
There's some shit that went down with that. You're not supposed to fucking cut women's heads off. I mean, that's pretty out of the fucking.
Well, it shouldn't need to be said, honestly.
All right, but Nicole was a fucking bitch to him too. I mean, that's another thing. I think she fucking drove him over the fucking edge. I mean, there are some people that knew about that situation. They were like, fucking Nicole was fucking crazy too. And crazy feeds on crazy. But that's just the way that shit did.
Still though, that's no excuse for cutting someone's head. And he killed that other dude too.
Yeah.
Who didn't do shit.
Yeah, so. He thought he did though.
Well, that doesn't matter.
I think that woman drove that dude crazy. Not to fucking blame her.
You are kind of though.
That was a fucking very toxic fucking situation.
Well, yeah. Thank you, Zach.
And
he says, sorry, he just gave a super chat. The most interesting part of serial killer cases to me is the psychology of the killer and what happened in their past to make them like this. Yeah, I'm really fascinated by that too. I'm just fascinated by the whole nature nurture thing. You know what I mean?
It's both.
Well, yeah, obviously. It's just different people have it's kind of like a feedback loop too. You can't ever separate the two things because they feed off of each other.
Yeah. But to wrap up OJ was guilty. Evidence said he was. Also said that the fucking cops fucking bent over backwards to try to fucking frame him when they probably didn't have to. I think Nicole fucking also drove him partially crazy. They were all kind of guilty to a certain extent. What's funny about OJ is that OJ was a fucking good guy that was driven to fucking extremes. Everybody who knew him before all that said no, he was real nice. And hey man, bad shit happens and fucking good people sometimes do bad things and fucking I think that he had a bad break and fucking Nicole and her friend fucking paid the price for it. I think he should have spent the rest of his life in prison.
Yeah.
But okay.
I mean, that's the way the cookie crumbles, I guess. But it's just kind of like, I totally think he did it, though.
Oh, yeah. I'm pretty sure he did.
Yeah. I mean, I've read a couple books about it. I don't like
he did it.
Yeah, that motherfucker did that.
He did it. I think he was kind of, what's good? I think there was provocation, but that doesn't justify it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I mean,
motherfucker got to learn to walk away.
You make me mad sometimes too, but I'm not allowed to cut your head off.
Yeah,
I wouldn't do that anyway because that's what a mess that would make.
OJ just should have fucking cut his losses, cut her out, and walked away. He could have got another woman.
That's what I mean. And it's like sometimes, especially somebody that's like kind of rich and famous like that. It's not like, it's not like you're some broke dick motherfucker and it's like, well, you can't leave because you don't have any money and you don't have anywhere to go and shit like that.
He had a good reputation.
He could have done anything.
Yeah, he could have done anything.
He didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
It's like you could have just left. It's like, why the fuck? I don't know. It's mystifying. In a way,
he wasn't thinking clearly.
Well, yeah. In a way, it's like more understandable when people are like in a really desperate situation because they feel like they don't have any options. But it's like somebody with that amount of money and prestige and fame and stuff. It's like, dude, you could do anything you wanted to. You don't really need to.
He stood to lose a lot during his divorce.
But still, he would have had...
He had a lawyer. He had enough money to get a good lawyer.
That's what I mean.
And they could have worked out something that would have that they both could have lived with.
That's what I'm saying.
And he just, it was a momentary lapse of fucking, motherfucker lost his shit. He lost his shit. That's what happened.
Yeah, he definitely lost his shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, so are we, okay, I was going to say, we're almost to the bottom.
We'll have a beer after this.
Yeah, we're going to make some black velvets. We got.
You guys are going to be watch me pour black velvet.
Do you got frosty mugs?
Got the frosty mugs in the freezer ready to go.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
All right. So, I think I mentioned this already, but yeah, so they determined from the tire tracks and from the grass underneath where the bag was, like the fact that the bag was like clean and everything like that, they said, okay, well, this bag has probably not been here for more than 24 hours max. So obviously the person had been keeping the body someplace else and then dumped it here sometime in the last 12 to 24 hours. As I said, they took casts of the tire tracks. Didn't really go. They said it was like an older model automobile, but they didn't really like figure out what it was. So it must have been really old because it was like 1931, which is funny to think about an older model automobile in 1931. I'm like, what the fuck? It was one of those bicycles with a big giant front wheel. I don't know. So, all right. So the second victim, this happened on April 19th, 1931. So it was a few months later. There was a girl who was 17, and she was named Louise Toyber or Tuber. I'm not really sure. It's Teuber, which I guess would be Toyber. And she was a store clerk. Now, she was found in April of 1931 hanging from a tree in a San Diego Lover's Lane near Black Mountain. There was like a family and they were looking for a place to have a picnic and found this mostly naked woman hanging from a tree in a park. They said that, so the cops got there. She'd been dead for about 8 hours, they thought. She had, some of her clothes were on, and then I think some of them were just kind of like around. They said she had a fur-trimmed coat, a green dress on, a pair of black shoes, gunmetal-colored hose, and some underclothing. They found her corpse positioned half-seated with the heels resting on the ground. One end of the rope was tied in a double half hitch. I've also seen it called something else, like some other kind of knot, but I'm not really sure entirely. What they said it was a real popular, like Navy type of knot, seaman sort of knot. Then that knot was like around her neck. Then the rope went up over the tree limb, and then the other end was tied to the base of another tree that was about 20 feet away. Now, they looked underneath her fingernails, and there was a bunch of bits of skin under there, meaning that she had struggled with her attacker. The back of her head was bruised, like behind one of her ears. So they thought that maybe whoever had attacked her had come up behind her and hit her with a blackjack or something like that, like, you know, to knock her out. Or it could have been, they said it also could have been a strong man's fist, like with a ring on the finger. Could have been that too. They weren't entirely sure. It's because there was like a little wound on the back of her skull. So then after he did that, like he ties her like by the neck and hangs her up in this fucking tree. I guess there was also like a big burned spot on the limb over which the rope was thrown. I don't know if that was from the rope or if that was from something else. I'm assuming it was from the rope. So I don't know if he was kind of like, I don't know what the fuck he was doing. So, yeah, so she actually died from the rope strangulation because the wound on the side of her head wasn't enough to kill her. So that was probably like just to knock her out. And then like the dude like tied her up and hung her from the tree. I
saw the photo of this crime scene.
Maybe 20s. You did. There are some floating around.
I saw the photo of this. She's in that dress hanging from the tree, and the tree limb is kind of pulling up on her. Her ass is off the ground, but her heels are dug into the dirt.
Yeah.
And I saw the photographs of her. She was a...
Yeah, they are floating around.
Yeah, I saw photographs of her. And that was the one where it was labeled underneath, written on the photo, sex fiend killing.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah.
That was up in the hills outside L.A., right?
Well, these are all around San Diego.
Okay. So it's terrain would be about the same.
Yeah.
To me, it looked like that on the hills outside L.A.
Yeah.
But it could have been outside of San Diego too. I remember seeing the photographs. She was cute. Probably a prostitute.
No, she wasn't.
She wasn't?
No.
Okay.
She just she was only 17.
Yeah, she
lived at home with her dad and her grandma.
Okay.
And she worked in a store.
Okay. I remember she was wearing a long dress. It was tight, almost kind of like a flapper type looking thing, but it was longer. And I thought she was older than that because the fashions of the time made everybody look old. But I saw the photograph of that crime scene. That was on goregallery.com going all the way back from fucking mid-'80s.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
There was a site, I think it's been taken down now, or the person doesn't maintain it anymore.
Yeah.
But they had, like, some of the pictures, too, because there was, like, a warning. It was like,
Yeah.
oh, it has, like, the crime scene photos.
Yeah, there's a photograph of her hanging like that, and then there's the cops standing around her, looking at her, and some guys measuring shit. It's all the crime scene photos. They were trying to figure out what the fuck had happened with her.
Yeah. It's fucked up.
Yeah.
So they also found near the body there was a package which had a woman's bra and a pair of hose in it and a purchase slip or a receipt. So this indicated that she had gone shopping the day before in downtown San Diego and was taken at some point, around like after that. They also looked inside her coat pocket and they found 4 addresses. 3 of them were men's addresses, and the other one was a girl, presumably a friend of hers. So they contacted the girl, and she was the one that identified Louise, like the friend of hers. Now, the shitty thing about this, and you can kind of see this in the 30s era newspaper accounts, and in this victim in particular, I guess that any girl that dated several men,
right?
They called them modern women.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
meaning
this is matching up with what the description of the photo that I saw had her labeled as dead prostitute.
She's
probably,
not. She was
probably
not
based on that what you're talking about there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw the crime scene photos. Wasn't particularly gruesome, but it was weird looking. Real weird.
Yeah. Well, it's weird, like, from the distance.
It almost looked like a suicide, but it said it was murder. So.
Yeah.
It says prostitute murdered by sex fiend, and it had a date. Fucking,
yeah. That's shitty, yeah, because she wasn't a prostitute. Right. She just, like, she worked at a regular store, and like I said, she lived at home with her dad and her grandma.
Law enforcement jumped to that conclusion right away.
I don't think she was a prostitute. I think the reason that they said that was because she dated a lot.
That would be the same in the 20s.
That's what's the 30s.
You'd be suspected as.
Yeah, so everybody was just like, oh, one of those. She's a hoe.
She's a hoe.
That's, right. Yeah.
Must be money involved somewhere. A woman couldn't do this for her own pleasure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
Imagine a woman deriving pleasure from sex. No. It's about those Benjamins. Really, you had dudes of that era actually believed that.
Well, like I said, if you read a lot of newspaper accounts of crimes from that era, that's why it's kind of hard to get a real good handle on stuff, because a lot of times they'll say the victims were prostitutes and they weren't prostitutes.
No, just what you would call a normal woman.
Yeah.
It was commonly believed back in the early 1900s that women did not enjoy sex.
Yeah. Which is funny.
Well, the culture of the time said so.
Yeah.
And if a woman enjoyed it, then damn, she must be perverted. Yeah. You know what I mean? And they only have sex with men so they can get money. So she must be a prostitute.
Or if they can get pregnant.
Yeah, right. It's similar attitude what you would have in a very conservative Islamic republic. That's kind of what they think.
Yeah.
That's not what it is, though, but... Women don't enjoy sex? Are you kidding me? No, of course not. Of course not.
No.
Yeah, they're good girls. They have the Madonna whore complex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I said, that's a really dangerous thing to have, because it's like they're not going to investigate. Like, if they think you have too many boyfriends, they're just going to think you're a hoe.
You must be getting money, yeah.
And it's just like, she got killed. That kind of shit happens. And they're not going to, like, fucking investigate it as stringently as they would investigate some other thing.
I just think it's funny that men of that era, and also in other cultures, you know what I mean? I'm not going to be easy on these bitches. I'm a man. I'm going to attack what I see. You know what I mean? They got motherfuckers out there that are simpletons, okay? That think that women don't enjoy sex. And that, well, if she's having sex with those dudes, I mean, it's not the pleasure. Of course it's the money.
You know, a woman could never enjoy sex. Well, no, they could never enjoy sex with you, dude. That's
well,
what,
I think that's what we've gotten exactly to the root of the problem.
They're not enjoying the sex with you.
That's okay. Yeah, that's exactly what the root of the problem.
Right. Yeah.
They would never admit that to themselves.
Right.
But that's exactly what it is.
Right.
They're mad because
you're not shaking that tree. You're not lighting it up, bro. You're not looking at that face when it happens.
I just kind of feel like every dude that gets on women for being hoes or like having sex with too many dudes or whatever, I'm like, they're just mad because they're not having sex with you. That's the only reason. Whether they'll admit that themselves, I don't know, but that's always what the fucking reason
is. It was the culture
of
the time. There was not, the dating culture was just starting. And you know what's funny is, you know, I look back in history, being a historian, I understand how American culture and Western culture developed. A lot of people don't know this, but what started dating was the telephone. Telephone allowed a guy to call on the girl at her house, and they could
want to go to a weenie roast?
Yeah. They could talk. They could talk over the phone, and that wasn't being improper. Your parents would allow that because there wasn't any physical contact.
Right.
But what happened?
You're in your own houses.
You're in your own houses. So that was the beginning of the dating culture. But then a few years later, what ended up happening is that working class and middle class families got what? The car.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, you could drive to her house and drive around.
They go to the drive-in and have sex in the back seat.
They didn't have the drive-ins, but they'd go park. And that was the beginning of the fucking... They weren't supposed to be doing it, but it did happen.
Well, yeah.
And then they'd go out in the fucking country and make a campfire and a bonfire and start drinking. And then that was one of the reasons why they started prohibition, is because they were out in the woods fucking with the cars drinking, and they were talking on the goddamn phone. You had to stop that.
These damn kids talking on the phones.
Yeah.
This newfangled telephone. This is going to be the death of the civilization.
Yeah. Well, if you go back to those old fucking films like, you know, Laurel and Hardy and Little Rascals, they made a big deal about going up to that phone and cranking that crank and talking to Miss Crabtree and shit over the phone. Phone had a sexual connotation in those days. You know I love you, Miss Crabtree. And she goes, I know you do, Spanky. You know, that was some weird shit there where Spanky was trying to get laid by fucking Miss Crabtree.
Like early phone sex.
Early phone sex with the teacher.
Oh my God. Jeff Yard's laughing. He weenie roasts and ice cream socials. Yeah, I mean, well, I was thinking of that that dating short that they did on Mystery Science Theater, and they ended up going on a. Did they go to the weenie roast in the end? That was one of the options. I remember that one. I don't remember if there was. I think there was something like an ice cream social.
But I believe that the travesty and ultimate and the fucking huge mistake that was prohibition was directly linked with the telephone in the car.
Yeah, you're probably right about that. Dermot says even the Yorkshire Rippers victims in England in the 1970s, yeah, I remember that, were all described as prostitutes of low morals when many of them weren't prostitutes.
Right.
And anyway, who cares what they did? Right, I'm just always kind of like, even if they were prostitutes,
right,
who gives a shit? They're still human beings, for Christ's sake, and don't deserve to get horribly murdered. But the thing about it was that a lot of them, and a lot of victims, particularly, not so much nowadays, but like back then... You know, like I said, if you were a woman and you like dated, you weren't married and you dated a couple of guys, like they just called you a prostitute straight up in the paper. And they'd be like, almost like, oh, well, you had it coming.
Well, there could have been ulterior motives. Cops were under a lot of pressure. They were trying to keep a mass panics from happening. So to settle everybody down, this is don't worry, civilians, don't worry, people.
Yeah.
It's all prostitutes.
It's not your kind of, it's not good people. Yeah. It's always those
It's always them, but yeah, so... Don't worry about it. That's probably
that's probably exactly why.
Right.
It's like you guys don't have to worry.
Right.
Just go about your business, citizens. It's just those dirty whores that have to worry about.
Yeah. Well, a lot of it was keeping the public calm.
Yeah. Thank you, Zach.
What do you think?
In my opinion, whoever did this and other crimes in the era already had a predisposition to these things and were totally broken by World War I. Yeah, it might have been. I mean... Cutting up a 10-year-old kid, that's pretty fucked up. You know?
He's throwing World War I into it, though. It probably not. Chances are no. It was part of the general public. Because when you look at the actual numbers of Americans that went to World War I, It was tiny. Statistically, it would have been very unlikely statistically that this was a World War I veteran. There just weren't very many World War I veterans in the United States.
Yeah.
It would have been very unlikely.
I mean, but it's possible.
It was a very small war effort.
Yeah.
As far as America was concerned. Most of the people that were involved in World War I were French, and most of them didn't survive. I think France lost a million men in one day. I think it was at the Battle of the Somme.
Yeah.
Imagine that. The French actively were trying to win a war by stopping machine gun bullets with the chests of young men. It's not possible.
That was a horrifically poetic way to put that.
Yes.
So.
Yes. Absorbing enemy munitions does not allow you to win wars.
In general, no.
Yeah.
In general, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dermot said Yorkshire police have since apologized for the misogyny 40 plus years later.
Yeah.
Better late than never. Yeah, it's just, it seemed like a really, it was just like a kind of a hallmark of the time, I guess, because, you know, they did it in papers over here as well. Even really up until the 60s or 70s, I feel like.
Yeah.
Maybe even into the 80s. I mean, I have to go back and look, but I really do kind of feel like it was lesser in the 80s, but because in the 80s they were too busy blaming satanic cults for everything.
Yeah. Tila says, listen to Tom, but she doesn't give any context. I think she was talking about what I was saying, that the women of that era, if they were dating, then that women of that era weren't supposed to enjoy sex. Oh my God. Yeah, that's probably what she's talking about.
Well, it was just something that wasn't really considered or talked about. Right. I think, like I said, until the 60s or the 70s.
Women were not seen as sexual beings, nor were they seen as having sexual needs. They actually, in the 1800s, they had to go to these special doctors that would relieve their tension. Yeah. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Okay. And it was because in the Victorian era here in the United States, mid to late 1800s, women either did not know how to masturbate or would not admit to knowing how to masturbate. And they had special doctors that they would go to that would do that for them.
Yeah.
That's some weird shit when you think about it.
It is pretty weird.
And they had a special name for it. It was tension relieving therapy or some shit like that.
Well, and they even had what were essentially like dildos and vibrators and stuff like that, but they didn't call them that.
Yeah, and doctors might use them.
That's what I mean. It was like all doctor. It was like all medically.
Yeah, vibrators and shit. They put their hand on there. Basically, they were hitting them with the Sibian.
Or the rabbit. Yeah. Well, they didn't have anything as good as a rabbit back then. Yeah, but you know what I mean. But yeah, it was just
the
like
magic wand. They were hitting them with magic wand.
The pocket rocket.
Yeah, and then and I guess they talked pretty to them while they were sitting in there, and they had all the nurses around. So it was like a group affair. Some kinky shit. When you think about it.
Really, it's like no. Even nowadays, people will be like, "Yeah, I don't want to get involved with that. That's a little."
Either that or no, they pay some fetish money,
or they would pay a lot more. Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah. Bring the nurses in. Hold her hand.
But now everybody would know what the deal was. Back then, it just seemed like, and I was gonna say too that it almost kind of seems like back in the old days, you'd get, because you know how every time like a woman would do something that a man didn't like, they're just like, oh, off to the insane asylum with you, because you're obviously you're talking back, so you must be crazy. Yeah. So I kind of feel like, I wonder if like some, you know, stiff collared like upper class dude, he's like, he takes his wife over to the doctor, because I'm doing this, and he's like, can you do something with Martha? She's being very inconvenient, and she's like talking back to me and stuff. Can you like relieve her tension? There's something the matter with her. Yeah.
So a lot of people, a lot of people say crazy shit today about the past of the United States and fucking where it comes from. They don't even know the fucking history, how weird the fucking history actually was.
But that's what's fun about history. It's like way weirder
than you think
than anyone can imagine. Which, like I said, that's what makes it so fascinating to me.
Normal people cannot judge people of that era because they were in an entirely different fucking universe.
That's why you can. I mean, some stuff is the same. Like some stuff never changes.
Some of it does, but a lot
sometimes,
of it isn't.
Like I said, you read newspaper articles from back then, and it's like some of the stuff, I mean, a couple of the things you can figure out. Like, obviously, they can't say raped in the paper, so they'd always say criminally assaulted or something like that. Yeah, I've seen that too. That's usually what that means, because they had to be like all euphemistic about it. But sometimes I come across like some words or phrases and I'm just like, that sounds like it's probably a euphemism for something, but I can't really figure out what. I don't know.
Kidnapping was a euphemism for child rape.
That sounds. Well, then what did they say when someone just got kidnapped?
Well, they would say kidnapped too, but not recovered.
Oh, okay.
But if a kid was raped, they would say kidnapped and released.
Ah.
Okay.
I gotcha.
Yeah. There's a kidnapper in the area that releases the child.
A kidnapper.
Kidnapping means fucking child rapist.
I mean, to be fair, that's usually why somebody would kidnap a child.
Yeah. Let me go get some Black Velvet.
Oh boy, we're gonna go get beers.
Yeah.
Let's have some beers. Hopefully I don't fall asleep, because beers make me very, very sleepy. But they are good. So they don't have a lot of clues from this in this Louise Toyber case. Like I said, she was the young woman that was found hanging from the tree. The knot that was tied around her neck was, I guess it was a hammock knot, which I guess is something that like all the sailors know. It's kind of a basic, Navy knot or whatever. They also found like a kind of an army blanket, and that was found with the clothing. So they start looking for, a sailor that might have been hanging out with her. One source that I read said that they figured out that the rope had been bought from a local, like a auto repair shop, but I guess they went there and like tried to find out like who had bought the rope, but I guess either people didn't remember or they didn't have like records or anything like that. But they did narrow it down to one shop where it had been purchased, but they couldn't figure out who had bought it. Now, in this case, they actually did have a suspect. The first suspect that they had, at least at the time that the body was found, was a guy who was a commercial photographer. And he was a photographer. I guess he was in that smut picture racket, as Ed Wood movies would say. So he was taking pictures of girls with,
with their underwear on.
Cheesecake photos.
Yeah.
He was taking that kind of stuff. So maybe they thought that she had been photographed by this guy, and maybe then he killed her for some reason. So they bring that guy in. Thank you. And so I guess she actually maybe did get photographed by this guy. But I don't, like, they brought him in for a while, but I really don't think that anything came out of it. I'm just like pouring these in here like this. I'm doing like alchemy. Oh look, I just all that foam. That's okay. I'm gonna do like on beer and board games, like Matt always says, look, I poured it like an asshole.
Yeah, you're pouring it like an asshole.
Because he's all the foam is in there. He doesn't care. I also poured it like an asshole. But that's all right. So all right, so they bring this guy in, and he actually was able to provide some photos that I guess he had taken of her, and he owned a cabin there, like near San Diego, and he had taken some pictures of him there along with some other women. And the cops thought that he was acting suspicious, but I don't really. It just seems like they didn't really have much else to go on. I mean, acting suspicious doesn't really mean anything. Maybe he was just fucking nervous. I don't know. So they interviewed him, but that didn't really go anywhere. So then they questioned like dozens of other people also, even like the same day that the body was found. All the dudes of the dresses that had been found in her coat, everybody that. Oh, I thought you were giving that.
No, I'm doing.
Like I said, Wicked Grove. My favorite thing here is, I think I showed this on the Wednesday show. I love this little mad apple that's like on the cap. I don't know why that makes me so happy, but it does. So they go through all that. They went through her diary, and I guess there were like 15, 20 more dudes' names in there. And so they talked to all them as well. Now, there was one dude that they talked to who was a 19-year-old guy, and his name was Cyril Smith. And he said that he had talked to her on Saturday, before she left work. Like I said, she worked at a store downtown. I think I saw like somewhere what kind of store it was, but I can't remember what it was now. She just worked somewhere. It was like a clothing store or something. And I love this. This is what Cyril said. Thanks a lot, Cyril. Cyril says, Miss Toyber had more dates than any girl I ever knew. Which, like I said, that could mean she's a prostitute, but it could also mean she's just fun. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's hard to say. It was the 1930s. So another male friend of hers named Leslie Earhart, who was 20 years old, said he actually drove Louise to a park on Saturday afternoon, and that at that point she told him that she was going to leave home. Because like I said, she still lived with her dad, who I think he owned a barber shop or something. He was actually quite well off. Her mom had died, so her dad was widowed. And I think the grandmother lived there as well, kind of like taking care of the house or whatever. They called it
Black Velvet with that little boy's smile. Black Velvet with a smooth Southern style. Right? Is it smooth Southern style? What is it? With that slow Southern style.
Oh, yeah. I can't remember all the words.
Yeah, Black Velvet, yeah.
That's a pretty good song, actually.
Yeah, it's an old guy.
I haven't heard it in a long time. Who the fuck did that song? She was kind of a little bit of a one-hit wonder. What the hell was her name?
I forgot.
I'll probably think of it like 15 minutes from now. But yeah, so as I mentioned earlier in the paper, everybody called Louise a quote-unquote modern young woman.
Yeah.
Which, like I said, I think that was kind of the same. From what I could glean, it's kind of like, you know how in the 20s, like, they were all, like, flappers? I think it was kind of the same thing that they were referring to. These are girls that smoke cigarettes and go to the dog track, and they're fun, you know.
They were the first generation of normal chicks.
That's kind of what I was thinking. Okay.
Louise Brooks.
Yeah.
Being like...
girls that like to do, like, dude things, I guess, would be, like, the way you put it. But, like, not dude things, just, like, fun people things. But back then it would have been considered dude things. And it would have been considered weird. It's like, look, she's wearing pants. Yeah. And smoking a cigar.
Just in case you got... Louise Brooks. One of the first of the like normal cool chicks.
Yeah. Alana Miles, thank you very much. That's who did Black Velvet. I knew I was... All right. So yeah. So apparently what ended up happening was that this is really sad. So I guess the Saturday before her body was found, because I think it was a Sunday that her body was found, like Sunday morning, she had decided that she had gotten into an argument with her dad, because I guess she wanted to go to a friend's house and her dad said no, and she was so then she like snuck out. She was 17, you know what I mean? So she snuck out. Now, one of the friends that she saw on Saturday, she saw a couple friends on Saturday, but then like at some point later that night, I imagine she was murdered. And this is really shitty. Like, she had written a letter to her dad, which she had mailed. And part of the letter read, "Dear Dad, I've tried for a long time to be satisfied with the way you were running the house, and I can stand it no longer. I am leaving home tonight, and I am not coming back." And he got that letter, like, a few hours after they found her body. Isn't that fucking horrible? So, like, she was going to leave home because she didn't want to be under her dad's supervision anymore, I guess, because she was modern. And in the parlance of the day.
It was the beginning of an economy where a woman could move out on her own and maybe move in with a couple of other young girls and actually have fun.
Yeah.
And then a few decades later, it would have been kind of normal.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like now no one would say boo to that, which, like I said, that's good.
Yeah.
But back then it was like a big, huge fucking deal. Somebody said, I don't know, Brad Jones, yo, just got off work. Yay for 13 o'clock. Yay.
Thank you.
We're drinking some beers.
Drinking Black Velvet.
I know. In a frosty mug and everything.
In case anybody wants to know, Black Velvet is always some kind of high-quality extra stout. One bottle. It's Guinness in this one. And then one bottle of hard cider. And pear cider or apple cider works.
Yeah, we have apple today.
But
pear, but pear is also good.
Pear's good, too.
I mean, they kind of taste the same.
Taste about the same.
I think.
Pour it in a frosty mug.
He's making...
The only downside is that it's high calorie. It's like eating about a half a loaf of bread.
And after this, we're probably going to eat the rest of your birthday cake.
That's right, I got cake. We're going to have some more drinks, too.
Well, yeah, we probably will. It's Friday night. Why not? I mean, we're going to go out tomorrow night, too. We didn't drink last night. Well, I had a little drink because I had a friend come over, and she was...
we almost had the kids on tonight, but the times didn't work out.
Yeah, they actually wanted to come over tonight. We were like, okay, but if you can be on the show if you want to, but they didn't get off work until after we had already started the show. So.
Y'all would like Aaliyah. She's cute.
She was in the comments earlier.
She was in the comments earlier?
Yeah, for a minute. I don't know if she's still here or not.
She's just a kid. She's 18. She's cute, though. Fun. She wants me to fix her boots.
Yeah.
We gave her some boots, and they broke.
Calling me.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they're old,
Yeah.
Tila says, y'all got cake leftovers? Yeah.
Yeah, I got half a cake left.
I mean, we only had one piece each yesterday. It's not like we were stuffing our faces with cake.
Yeah.
And it's not...
very big
It's
cake.
not a huge cake. It's just kind of like a regular size
Like
cake.
a 10-inch cake.
Yeah, it's not... I think it's 10 inches or... Yeah, I think it's a 10
Tall
inch
and 10 inches.
Yeah.
From the Publix Bakery. Or, Publix Bakery.
Publix Bakery.
And they make fucking great cakes.
God, every single cake I've gotten there.
Everything-
Every birthday, anytime it's somebody's birthday or an occasion we need a cake, we always get it from there.
Here in Florida, we have a chain of grocery store called Publix. It's spelled with an X on the end. And they have a deli and a bakery and everything. And a seafood shop or, fish market. Man, everything they make is fantastic. They have some of the best brand name ice cream. Publix ice cream is fucking really good. The only thing that's better would be Bluebell. But even Publix can kind of come close. They got their own creamery and everything that makes it. And then they have a sandwich shop in there where you could get Cuban sandwiches or fucking po' boys or hoagies or whatever. With boar's head fucking cold cuts and slices. I think it's like, what is it, $7 for a huge 14-inch fucking...
It's 12 inches.
12 inch.
But it's more than I can eat. I usually get a 12 inch and then I eat half for lunch and then I eat half like 7 hours
that
later.
shit is good.
Because I can't eat the whole thing in one sitting.
Meat and cheese and all that.
They make, honestly, their subs are like way better than any of the chains.
You got like 4 choices of bread.
I like the multigrain with
that multigrain is really good. And they bake it all right there. It just doesn't get any better.
And honestly, if you're just going to the bakery too, like all their cakes are fantastic, and also
all their buns, all their bread.
My favorite of theirs is their white mountain bread.
Yeah.
Holy shit! I could toast like a whole loaf of that and just eat one piece at a time with nothing on it. It didn't even have to have anything on it. That's how good that fucking bread is.
Publix is like a Florida phenomenon. It's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I said, every time we have to get a cake, we always get one from there.
Yeah.
And they do like their fried chicken is good too.
Yeah, real good fried chicken. You go down there and get a whole big old... Instead of going to KFC, you can go to Publix. And for, I think, a little bit less, you will get more chicken. I think. It's a little bit less.
Well, I can't remember how much. I think it's $12.99, and you get a bag of 8 pieces or 10 pieces.
It's a half a chicken.
And you get
with a bunch of
2 sides and a thing and a thing of rolls.
And drinks, right?
No.
Didn't come with drinks? Okay.
I don't think so. I think if you get if you go there for lunch, I think you get a box and then you have chips and a drink and stuff. Yeah. But I think if you're getting the meal, I think it's a bag of chicken, 2 sides.
Yeah.
So you can get like mac and cheese or potato salad or whatever.
Yeah, and I think there's a Starbucks in there too, isn't there?
There is, yeah.
Yeah.
They put a Starbucks in there a year or 2 ago.
And there's like a sit-down place where you can eat there if you need to, or you could carry it out, whatever. It's nice, man.
Well, we have 2 of them. We're like exactly halfway in between 2 Publixes. So we always, and the one that's a little bit closer also has a liquor store.
Yeah.
So we go to that liquor store. Unless we're up by Sam's. Unless we're in Sam's and then we go to that liquor store because that's like super cheap.
Yeah, it's a real high end grocery store.
Yeah, all the
Winn-Dixie here is nice too. They had to compete with Publix. So they had to rebuild all the Winn-Dixies. Winn-Dixies are similar. They got delis, and then they also have it's kind of like a buffet. You can go through there and get like salad stuff.
Yeah, you can make they have like cold pasta and olives and things like tomatoes and mozzarella cheese.
Seafood salad in there, and fucking you can make your own dressings and.
I feel like most grocery stores nowadays, at least the nicer ones, are all having to have that now.
Yeah, they all have it now.
Because I feel like you just, You have to go in there. You have to, because like I said, they had nicer ones that had the like Whole Foods and shit like that. So now all the other ones have to do
when
it
Dixie
as well.
has a badass seafood place. Me and Jenny went in there a couple years back. We were kind of gothed out, and there was like a girl back there who's fucking doing the crab legs, and she saw us. She goes, "I'm gonna give you some extra." She gave us, remember all that extra?
Yeah, I remember that.
We had like 3 times as many crab legs as we actually fucking paid for. She goes, "I got to clean all this up. You guys can have all this crab."
And I was like,
God damn.
Give me all the crab.
We had fucking king crab fucking fest that night.
Yeah, we had that big pot and we like cooked it all in there.
Yeah.
So good. We need to do that.
I was like, I can't eat all this anymore.
Well, because honestly, we don't go to Winn-Dixie that often just because we have Publix and that's nicer. And Winn-Dixie is a little bit farther.
Yeah.
But the only thing we go to Winn-Dixie for is when they have a sale
on those crabs.
On king crab legs.
Yeah.
Because they have that a lot.
Yeah.
Like you can get they have it on sale like 2 for $1 or whatever. So yeah, we go and get those and like put them in a big pot with the corn and the potatoes.
Yeah, and she had all these little extra pieces of legs, and that added up to like a couple pounds of fucking crab.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Yeah.
Gramthars Hammer said Food Lion is the ghetto grocer of the South. Yep, that's true. Yeah, we had
Gramthars, I miss Fago, man. We grew up when we were fucking hanging out in Trenton, Michigan, back in high school. You could get a 2-liter of Fago fucking soda for like 50 cents.
Are you a juggalo?
Well, that's what ICP's talking about.
I know.
But they also had it in glass bottles. They had it and everything. You can get single. They had some fucking weird ass fucking flavors. Gramthars will remember. I'm fucking drunk, but they had this shit called Arctic Sun, which was a mixture of fucking orange and mint. It was the worst thing fucking of all times. Arctic Sun.
Do you see this face? Do you see this face? Orange and mint.
It was fucking weird. It was blue. It was a blue fucking
And it
soda.
was blue?
It was blue.
How high were they when they came up with that? Do you know?
I don't fucking know, man. But
okay.
And then they had Red Pop. Red Pop was just kind of like cream soda and it was red. Fucking man.
I've heard of Red Pop. I don't remember if we had it down here, but I've heard of it.
That's a Michigan thing, Red Pop.
I know it is.
Michigan does have its own culture. There's parts of fucking Michigan, certain aspects of Michigan I really fucking dug. Other aspects of it were fucking boring.
Well, right now with that wig on, you look like you could fit right in.
Yeah, they would love this back in the day.
You remind me of that.
They were fucking into the damn fucking Bob Seger.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that.
Yeah, and the generation older than me would be listening to Bob Seger. Fucking, and it would drive you fucking crazy. Every time you turn the radio on, it would be fucking Bob Seger.
They're like, enough with the Bob Seger. Jesus Christ.
But no, they had, back when Detroit was good, Motown, they had some good fucking artists that came out of there, good music. Basically, Skinny Puppy came from there, even though that was a Canadian band from Ontario. They really were from Detroit. That's really where most of their shows were. Iggy Pop.
Yeah.
Detroit. Ted Nugent. I liked Nugent.
Wasn't Prince from around there?
Maybe.
I thought Prince was from Michigan. Madonna's from Michigan too.
But she didn't make it big in Michigan. She made it big other places. She was from there.
Well, she went to like New York and got in the club scene and all that kind
Steven Seagal from Michigan.
Well, we won't hold it against him.
We're going to say something. I'm not from Lansing.
That's the next wig you need is a Steven Seagal wig.
I'm not from Michigan. I'm from Japan.
I was trying to find, when I was looking for a picture to put on Instagram for your birthday yesterday to announce the show, I was kind of like, why has nobody made a Steven Seagal birthday cake, for Christ's sake? The only one, I found a picture of one that somebody had made for somebody, but it had somebody else's name on it, and it didn't really look like Steven Seagal. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I was very disappointed. I was hoping to find one that was like 3D, that somebody like sculpted to look like Steven Seagal, which would have been like fantastic. I thought you could find everything on the internet.
Oh, Jeffrey R. says, yes, preach it, Tom. Publix fried chicken rocks. Yes, it does. It is good.
All of their shit's good.
Yeah, all their shit's good.
Everything is good in there. That cake I got you, like I said, was amazing.
Yeah.
Lemon and strawberry. It's really, really good. Because you like all that fruit. You're so fruity.
I like fruit stuff.
But like I said, for my birthday, I got a cannoli cake from there with rum in it, and that was also fantastic. All their shit's good. Okay, so where was I?
Grandpa says, which is better, Publix or Piggly Wiggly? Publix.
Yeah.
Piggly Wiggly's ghetto.
Yeah.
Ghetto, but...
I don't even remember if we have any Piggly... I think there was one in Daytona when I was growing up. But that's when I was a little kid, and that was even ghetto.
Yeah,
back.
long time.
That was ghetto
back in the day.
It was ghetto back then.
But on the upside, Elvis would have fucking loved. He's the kind of he loves Piggly Wiggly. If Elvis were to back in the day, if Elvis were to go shopping at a grocery store, it'd be Piggly Wiggly. Yeah.
Well, you kind of want to go there just so you can say that you're going to the Piggly Wiggly. I'm going down to the Piggly Wiggly. Gonna get some bread and milk.
Gramthars said, first time I saw a Publix, I thought it read pubics.
Yeah, it does kind of look like that.
Yeah, it does kind of look like that.
Do you remember Goodings?
I remember that one.
That's where we used to... That was actually one of the closest ones when I was really little. And we would go to the Goodings. And then there was an Arthur Treacher's next to it, like in the parking lot.
Yeah.
And it was like a sit-down restaurant back then. Like now, I think the only place you can find them now is like in airports every now and then.
Jeffrey's in there tripping over fucking Publix. He says, last night I had an 8-piece. Yeah, hell yeah. No, fucking Publix is where you go to get
God
fucking
damn it.
chicken.
That makes me want to
If you want a sub sandwich or fucking... If you want a sub of your creation or you want fucking chicken, you go to fucking Publix.
Or you want a birthday cake.
Or a birthday cake, yeah. They got a huge birthday cake menu.
I know. I saw when I was looking because I was
online.
I was gonna order one for myself for my last birthday, and I'm just like sitting there going, I can't even pick which one I want. They all look good.
You can go online, look at Publix fucking grocery store, and fucking look at their cakes selection. And you go, God damn! You order it, and it'll be ready when you ask it for it. They'll make it.
And also, I had I got some petit fours from there too, like from the bakery, and those were also delicious because I fucking love petit fours. I get them around Christmas because my grandmother always used to get me petit fours for Christmas, so now it's kind of like that makes it feel like Christmas if I go get them petit fours because she always gave me them.
Xander just says we got Fago out here in the West Coast in glass bottles. Yeah, we had it in glass bottles when we were a kid. That's normally how we got it. The 2 liters were plastic, but the glass bottles, I mean, there were times in high school in Trenton where you could get 2 of the glass bottles for $1. 99 cents for 2.
Yeah.
How are you going to pass that up?
Campco says hoggly woggly. That'd have been like the higher fat version.
No Need for Me Too is a Bob Seger fan. Against the Wind. Yeah.
Oh my God. One time I wrote... This is going back, but I'll have to like go and find it because I think I still have it. I wrote an entirety of parody lyrics to Old Time Rock and Roll, except it was about Pookie knocking all the DVDs off the shelf when she wanted treats. Because remember when she used to do that when we had the shelf of DVDs by the bed?
Danny Rolling Ghostface says Eminem is from Michigan and used to rap about Fago. Yeah, me and Gramthars will tell you, Eminem was from the neighborhood north of us. I think it was called, not Southgate, it was, what was it? Woodhaven? I think he was from Woodhaven or Southgate. Gramthars could probably chime in on that. He was just like in the neighborhood right next door to us.
Yeah, it's weird when you think about it, because I don't know, I hadn't really thought about it, but now that we're talking about it, man, there was like a shit ton of good music came out of there.
Yeah, Detroit had a lot of good music come out of it. Detroit's days are past, but it has a heritage.
Yeah.
It'll take a long time for that to come back. If it ever does, it probably won't.
It's kind of weird. It's almost kind of like how a shit ton of bands that I'm really into are all from like Manchester or Liverpool.
Yeah, and that's gone
in England.
Now. Yeah, and that's gone now.
Well, I just, it has to do with
now, evidently.
Well, it has to do with the way the place is at that particular time, and how the scene is, and it's just kind of like and it's just sometimes, all of the stars align.
I think the thing that really did that for our generation, the British New Wave that we appreciated that came out of the very early 80s. Was a product of the British public school system. During that time, a lot of guys had graduated from the British public school system and they had a fucking really good music education. So we were hearing the products of their educational system in 80, 81. That was the British public school system that did that.
Well, and the thing about it too is that a lot of them had seen, all the shit we like mostly was like post-punk. So it was just kind of like they all like heard punk music and they said, oh, everybody can do this. We can all do this. So there was
poor British kids had no option out.
That's what I was just going to say. They didn't really have any other options. There were no jobs for them. And
it's natural selection. You had poor neighborhoods that had good music education. The United States was hungry for music. It had a good record industry. It had a gigantic market, and they came here and dominated. It's kind of like the African American population and pro sports. Not all black people can be basketball players, but the people that can rise to fucking heights because that's what survived. It's natural selection.
Yeah.
Same thing. Same thing with those British. Same thing with Duran Duran and Susie. Yeah, they had talent, but that was brought out of them early through that education system. They could all play instruments. That's why I think, really, music schools need to come back. Because that's something you can make money with.
Well, and Dermot makes the point, too. He's from the UK, and he says art college, too, in the UK.
Yeah.
Lots of working class kids went there in the early 80s. Yeah, because I feel like a lot of bands that I'm into, including Duran Duran, including like Bauhaus, all of them, they went to art school.
Yeah. And, England, I would not like to live in England. It's not big enough. It doesn't have enough choices in life. But you got to thank them for our generation's got to thank them for what they produced and what they gave to us. And that was the bands that we grew up with. They were fucking fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like 80% of the bands that I grew up with were British.
Yeah. And even all the ska bands and everything. I mean, England punched above its weight. Big time. That's a little bitty place by American standards. And look at the influence.
Yeah.
On the back of poor kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, just shows what you can do and, give people some opportunities in the education.
And we got to fucking toot our own horns as Americans. We had the market to bring the best of the British poor kids to fucking fruition.
Well, they all wanted to come here.
They all want to come here because this is where it was.
Well, because if you dominated England, I mean, their radio stations are national.
Yeah.
It's different nowadays. But back then, the radio stations were national, so it was much easier to break to the whole country because you got played on the radio. Everybody heard you.
Yes.
Over here, it's much harder, but it's also a lot more lucrative. And especially since MTV was also just coming into the fore. If you got seen on MTV, everybody in the country would see you, or at least the small percentage that had MTV when it first started.
Yeah.
But you were getting a national audience.
Yeah, it's just funny how England contributed so much to American culture, at least with our fucking demographic, our age demographic, and actually even Hispanics and Latinos know the bands we're talking about. They jam to that, so it's just everybody, really in the 80s, the black kids most of them weren't too hip on Duran Duran and Billy Idol and shit like that, but later, you see them appreciating, and now on YouTube, fucking, they're going, God damn, fucking 80s was a great time for music. It fucking was.
Yeah.
And England had a lot to do with it. There was American music.
Yeah.
But it just, for me and Jenny, it was the British stuff.
And some Australians.
Australian.
Yeah. Which in a way was kind of... I liked a lot of Australian bands, particularly like the Birthday Party and stuff like that. And the Birthday Party were influenced not only by, British New Wave, or British punk, rather, but also kind of krautrock, so like German kind of proto-industrial, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And they were also really into American blues.
Yeah. I think, though, the Beatles dominated the America of the 60s, even part of the 70s. But the 80s and the early 90s was Duran Duran.
Mm-hmm.
And Duran Duran, that band and that whole crew behind them that supported them, understood America even better than Americans did. If you ask me.
Well, sometimes
they really knew what
sometimes
we wanted.
Looking at a culture from the outside.
Yeah. I think so.
Can helps give you a greater insight to it. Like, you're never going to, be as integrated, I guess, if you grew up in something.
Right.
But sometimes you can, like, see things that maybe people that because sometimes when you grow up in a place, you kind of have blinders on, and you
Right.
can't see certain things. You can't see that this is weird or whatever, because it's just what you're used to.
Yeah.
And maybe somebody else that can point that out to you.
Duran Duran was a group effort. There were a lot of American guys involved in that business, but that band understood what America was and gave American white kids of the 80s exactly what they wanted. Man, that was a good time.
He's getting all nostalgic.
Yeah.
But it's the hair.
It's like, hey, fuck this shit. You're making me self-conscious.
I kind of like it, actually.
Am I getting too... That's just getting hot, man.
Well, yeah, how do you think I feel?
It's just getting hot.
Sometimes I wear wigs for hours and hours at a time because we like out at the club and stuff like that, and it's like, you know. So now you know kind of what it's like to be. Oh shit. Okay, now we're putting this one on.
Sophisticated.
You gonna get sophisticated?
Yeah.
We going like we going into like Danzig mode now?
Maybe. You don't ask too many questions. You just let the shit roll. Just let
Okay.
this shit roll. God, this shit's fucked up. No, I can't handle it. I can't handle it.
You can't handle it.
Oh, I can handle
Yeah, you can.
it. Okay.
It's easy. The back is just where the little clippy thing is.
Too drunk.
The back is where the clippy thing is.
No, I'll go this way.
You'll go this
This
way.
one's easier. This one's easier.
Dermot's making the point too that nowadays if you have, a flop record, just one flop, you're dropped from your record label. Yeah, like immediately. Back in the 80s, Duran Duran, Soft Cell, Culture Club, etc. had a few flops before they hit the big time. Yeah, I do kind of feel like record companies back then were a little bit more, they sucked back then too, but I think they were a little bit more willing to give you a little while to catch on. Well, nowadays it has to be kind of like immediate or...
The thing with record companies back then is that they were companies. There aren't any record companies hardly anymore. There's not enough money there.
Esther, breaking news, Tom is drunk. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Are you really that drunk?
Music has to continue without record companies.
But like I said, it's, just like everything else.
Yeah.
It's much easier
It's gonna be
to do
YouTube
nowadays.
based.
Sure.
Let me have those bottles we'll get rid of them.
Well, wait a minute. They're not.
Okay.
I don't think they're quite empty.
All right.
Yeah, man, I still had a bunch of shit left.
Okay. God damn.
Oh no. It's like the blob.
Do you want to bring another bottle in? We'll
don't,
top them
don't,
off.
Don't.
I got some more.
Okay.
I'll bring some more.
My mug's going to be warm by the time
All right.
that comes around. Okay. So where was I? I was only on the second victim. Thankfully, this isn't like a super complicated case. I was thinking about it because I was like reading through my notes and I was like, well, this isn't that long. It's like, maybe I should add another, because you know how I do. Maybe I should add another case to this. And then I was like, what the fuck am I even thinking? You know how Tom goes. It's like, he'll make this show 4 hours, even if I only have like fucking 20 minutes worth of notes. So you know what I mean. All right, so let me get back to this for a little while until he comes back. So that was the second victim, like I said, Louise Toyber. She was the one that was found hanging from the tree. Sadly, like I said, she had actually planned to leave home, at least according to the note or the letter that she wrote to her dad. And she got murdered after she mailed the letter. And a few hours after they found her body, her dad got the letter that said she was leaving home and not coming back, which I guess came to pass in the most fucked up way possible. So 4 days later, after her body was found, they found the remains of yet another young woman, Mrs. Dolly Bibbins. Now, this maybe was the same killer. The circumstances were a little bit different, but the fact that it was kind of the same area and it was only like 4 days later, maybe. So, weirdly, the newspapers called this woman Diamond Dolly, which we'll get to in a minute. Now, she had actually been strangled and beaten in her house. So she wasn't found like outside like the other two, like the first two. She was found in her house. Now, the house had been ransacked, but the only thing that was taken was a diamond ring that was torn like roughly off her finger, which I guess was why they called her Diamond Dolly, among other reasons. Now, this kills me too. So the newspapers at the time, they called her, quote unquote, a born gambler. Here we go again with this modern woman thing. And the newspaper also said she was, quote, known in the nightlife circles here in San Diego and the Agua Caliente racetracks of Tijuana. So, they're trying to imply some shit. You know what I mean? I don't know. So that's what the newspaper said. So another newspaper that came out at the time said one of her men friends had been H.C. Yardley, a fishing boat cook. To him, she had lent money. He also possessed a key to her apartment. Yardley had been in San Diego about the time of the crime. He was accordingly arrested in Uniontown, Pennsylvania, charged with the murder and held for a preliminary hearing. Later, he was exonerated and freed. So that guy, like I said, they're looking into all her acquaintances. They're making some judgment calls about her moral character in the way that they did back then. Saying, hey, she knew this guy and he had a key to her house and that's like scandalous. So, But yeah, so like I said, this, as far as I know, she was not raped. I don't think. There's not as much about the later victims as there were about the first two. You know what I mean? So I don't think she was raped. But then again, her house was kind of fucked up, but nothing was stolen. So it didn't seem to be a robbery gone wrong. This very well could have been another perpetrator, but who knows? She always comes up like in the series, so I just thought I'd mention it. Thank you, David. That large logo Pliskin shirt looks pimp. Yeah, it does, actually. I don't know why I didn't do it bigger to start with. I can't really remember why. But...
I got another round for you, too.
Oh, okay.
If you finish that one.
Well, okay. I haven't even got close to finishing this one.
Okay.
So, all right. So, the fourth victim, and, like I said, these first four, I think it's most likely that they were committed by the same ones, and the later ones maybe not. But, I'm not really entirely sure. So this fourth victim was Hazel Bradshaw. She was 20 years old. She was called a, quote, beautiful switchboard operator, because obviously if she'd been an ugly switchboard operator, then it would have been okay to kill her, I guess. I don't know. It just seems a weird thing to point out. Now, her body was found in Balboa Park. She had been stabbed 17 times. So the first person they questioned, as usual, was her fiancé. I've also seen him called co-worker, although I guess he could be both things, because I guess they could have met at work and then they started dating or whatever. So they questioned him, and he said his name was Moss was his first name.
That's a cool name.
Of all things.
Like Moss Eisley.
Except it's two S's, so like moss hanging from a tree.
Well, I knew some brothers, they were called the Moss brothers. Their last name was Moss.
Well, yeah, but the last name, that's different. This is his first name.
Yeah. They were more creative back then.
They were more creative. They gave people all kinds of names.
What's up, Pookie Pants? What you doing?
Like, I was watching a thing about H.P. Lovecraft the other day, and I had forgotten that his grandfather's name was Whipple.
Whipple.
His grandfather's first name was Whipple.
Yeah, they had weird-ass fucking names back in the day.
What the fuck were they thinking? Was that all the lead in their shit, or what the fuck?
They had names like fucking...
Go watch the Time Suck episode about H.P. Lovecraft, because the dude gets super hung up on the fact that H.P. Lovecraft's grandfather's name was Whipple, and he makes up this whole product, like a energy drink called Whipple, and he does like a commercial for it and everything, and it is fucking hilarious.
It's funny because
he just could not get past that dude's name being Whipple.
They wouldn't have thought that was funny back then.
I know, but that's why it's like funny now, I guess.
What's funny is that all those funny sounding names all had badass meanings. Names like Elmer and shit like that, they meant like destroyer.
Although, really, would you be all that afraid of a monster? Like a monster came to our unit and said that he was called Elmer, and I'd just be like, okay.
It's not English. It's other languages. So.
I know.
And it's
but it's just for whatever reason, it just doesn't really sound all that intimidating.
No, it doesn't.
Well, and now in the U.S. at least, it has the connotation of being like Elmer's glue, like that kid's glue that they gave you to like do projects with construction paper in elementary school. Gramthars Hammer said, I once knew an old dude named Norbert.
Yeah.
Who would ever name their kid Norbert? See, this, I don't know, man. It's like fucking... It's not as bad as Whipple, but still. Fucking Whipple. Whipple Lovecraft. I don't think was his last name Lovecraft? Now I can't remember. For some reason I don't think it was, but I can't remember what his last name was.
Like I said, all those funny fucking sounding names like Norbert all have weird ass translations. Shit like the Vindicator. You know, the motherfucker you don't fuck with. That kind of shit, you know.
See, that's the name I want. I want my now legal name to be the Vindicator, the motherfucker you don't fuck with.
Yeah.
Ashford.
Poindexter might translate to fucking the Annihilator. You know, so a lot of that shit had weird.
Poindexter.
Yeah.
I've always kind of been fascinated by, because I mean, I'm a writer, so I had like some baby name books, because a lot of times you kind of want to, you know, name your character something that kind of has to do with, you know, what meaning you want to convey. Sometimes. But I've always kind of been interested in the cultural perceptions of certain names. And it does make a difference because, and many studies have shown this, that people that have very common or very popular names do way better in life than people that have names that are not popular in the culture at the time. Like if you're born nowadays and somebody names you Whipple,
yeah, you're fucked.
You're kind of fucked.
Yeah.
Just because people are going to treat you differently and it's just going to like affect your whole entire life. But if you're named something like, you know, Mike or Susan or something like that, like that's a very like common or very popular name, you tend to do a lot better in life.
T was in there complaining that her parents gave her like a Russian first name and a something or other second name. Just be happy that you didn't get like a fucking hardcore ghetto name. That'll fucking fuck you up too. Every bit is fucking Poindexter. It can't be anything extreme.
Well, anything
extreme will fuck you up over time.
Like that's the thing. Like when I was a kid, because you know I'm named Jennifer, and when I was born in 1972, every other set of parents named their fucking kid Jennifer.
Yeah.
And so when I got to high school, I would be in classes and there would literally be 5 Jennifers. Okay.
And then there's
it was either Jennifer or Heather.
And then there's a lot of these fucking basic bitch white girls fucking running around with names like Katie, but then when you look at the spelling, it's Cattiay or some weird shit like that. And you're like, that is not Katie. Who were your parents? You know.
The thing is that I feel like those parents, at least it's like, well, we're trying to have the pronunciation be normal and popular, but we want to give it
give a spin on
distinction.
Yeah.
Because we don't want to just them to have the same name as everybody else. They wanted like the, you know, for it to be different. Because it does kind of suck being in class. Because I said my English class when I was in 10th grade, I think there were literally 5 Jennifers. And it was a small class, so there are 5 Jennifers. So it's kind of like, you have to be Jenny A, you have to be Jenny B, you have to be Jen A, you know, and so they had to like call you something else, and it was just like really stupid. And then I was sitting there, I always wanted like kind of a cool, I don't want like a stupid name, like so people would just make fun of you your whole life, but I always wanted kind of like a weird, like exotic name. Nothing that anybody's going to be like, how the fuck do you pronounce that? But something that you don't hear every day.
I'm happy they named me Tom. That's just some simple shit, Tom. If you're a girl, that name that bitch Kim. That's it. Kim and Tom is a fucking. Can't go wrong with that shit. Strong sexual name. Bitch's name is Kim. Rolled over, Kim.
It's because your babysitter was named Kim, isn't it?
Yeah, it could be. No, I always loved the name Kim.
Really?
Yeah, I just did.
When I was a kid, I had a little stuffed bunny rabbit named Kim.
Yeah, I just like Kim.
That was the bunny's name.
I always thought Kim sounded real strong.
Well, it's a hard consonant and it's just one syllable.
Yeah.
Which is very forceful.
Yeah, I always liked that one.
Kim, I'm punching you with my name. Pow. It's like that.
Yeah.
Not like Norbert or Whipple.
Right.
Whipple. I still can't get past that. I just can't get past it. I mean, maybe that was kind of a popular... now I gotta look.
Yeah.
When was Lovecraft's fucking grandfather would have been? Jesus Christ.
Oh,
that would have been, well, early
Yeah.
to mid 1800s, I'm kind of feeling like.
Yeah.
Maybe that wasn't as weird a name as I'm thinking it was. Maybe that was a badass name. I don't really know.
See, T says, I love my names, but I feel like people always expect a Russian French woman to walk in. Well, we don't know your first name. You're just hitting. We don't know what it is.
Is it Tatiana?
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Because that's actually a pretty rad name.
Russian girl names are quite sexy, I think. Russians are sexy. Those are like ghetto white people. The motherfuckers will whip your fucking ass, all right? Russians have a... In the world of fucking... In the honky world, Russians, you can't fuck with them. You can't negotiate with them. They're gonna beat your ass. It's gonna boil down to a fight. And you're gonna have to earn their respect. That's how they're very educated and they're tough. Russians are poor, most of them. But hey, man, fucking those bitches succeed when they come here. Friend of ours married a Russian girl. He brought her over here. I didn't even know that this shit was going down. I come out of the fucking closet.
Wait, you came out of the closet? Since when?
I'm coming out of the closet. Me and Tom Cruise both coming out of the closet. I come out of that back closet.
I find out now?
We got a party going on. I come out of the back closet and I see this fucking cute girl fucking doing her hair in my mirror, and I said, "Who are you?" And she
what are you doing in my bathroom?
Who the fuck are you?
I live here.
I didn't even know what the fuck was going on. Who are you? And she turned and looked at me and went and didn't answer. Fuck you. And I said, No. Who are you? And she was just like, fuck you.
Was that party we had?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I don't remember that.
So I got her husband. I said, "Who is this?" Well, she's shy. Remember that? And I did the photo shoot with her.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, her.
Yeah.
Okay. And he was, well, she didn't speak English that well. She's Russian. And I said,
maybe she didn't know what you were saying.
She didn't know. She was kind of scared about being here, I think. She didn't know this place. She's like, who are these people? You know.
Yeah, because we had never met her before.
That good. I was
we
like,
had never met her
who the fuck are you?
She came to the house later, but
yeah, she didn't realize that she was in my house.
Yeah.
I just come out and I'm like, who the fuck are you? I didn't even know that there was anybody in the goddamn house.
Oh my God.
She just blows me off in my own fucking house. And her husband's in a band.
Yeah.
And he comes out and I says, "Who the fuck is this?" He goes, "That's my wife." And I says, "What's she doing in my fucking bathroom?" I'm asking her, who is she?
Fixing her hair, obviously.
She's fixing her hair. I ask her, "Who are you in my house?" She won't even talk to me. She goes, "Well, she's shy."
Okay.
And I was like, "Oh, okay." And she's from Russia. She's from Russia? Yeah, she's Russian. Her English is not all that good.
Okay.
And I was like, "Oh, okay."
Well, that explained it.
Then she kind of loosened up after.
That would be kind of weird, though, to like walk in.
When she realized that she was in my house,
okay.
then she was. She didn't know where she was.
Well, yeah, that party, it's like people brought people that we didn't really know that well. But honestly, it's like that, that was a really fun party. And a lot of people were here, and I was like, who the fuck are these people? I don't know. But after all that, though, it went pretty well. Like, the house wasn't trashed. It was a little messy. Right. But not really. Nobody trashed it. Yeah. I was afraid. I thought everybody was going to trash the place, but they didn't.
Yeah.
We have very polite friends.
Well, the bitches better respect. They know me.
Yeah, maybe
they know you too.
Maybe they thought that we would kill them. And it's like, don't you fucking mess up my house. I think the worst that happened was like some people like tracked some dirt in from outside because they were out back like smoking pot.
Tina says I ain't telling you my first name.
It is Tatiana, I bet.
Tatiana. Yeah.
Or it's Skova. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just like blue skying.
Katarina. Her name is Katarina.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just, I don't mind being named Jenny nowadays, but when I was growing up, because there were so many other ones, I was just kind of like, God damn it, why can't I have a cool ass name? I wanted a cool name. I didn't know what I wanted to be named, though.
Yeah.
Like, if you'd have said, okay, well, you can change your name to anything you want, I don't think I would have been able to decide.
Tina says, telling Zonda they were black, and she spelled that with a Q, and she goes, pronounced black. What the T's playing all these games.
Gramthars Hammer said some girl names always equal trouble.
Yeah.
Pam, Rhonda, and Karen.
And Stephanie.
Yeah. And Tiffany.
Married them both. No, married one. Dated
I was gonna say, wait.
Married one, dated the other. Tiffany's and Stephanie's are fucking crazy.
Can confirm.
Yeah.
Can't confirm. I haven't dated them, but I've known people named that, and like, yeah.
Stephanie's and Tiffany's are fucking crazy.
What's the other one? Sherry.
I don't never know one.
I've known a couple of Sherry. Yeah. Well, no, I'm gonna take that back. I knew one Sherry that was actually really cool. But I don't know. There was a lot of names like that were kind of, especially around the time.
We've lost a lot of the fucking stream. Maybe because we've gone on a fucking sidetrack. Or do we have to get back to the fucking case?
Well, yeah.
Okay, let's get back to the case.
I don't actually have that much left.
There's not that much left. Okay.
So that's what I mean. So it's a
Saturday night. Everybody's drinking.
It's Friday night.
It's Friday, excuse me. Or it's a Friday night.
That's how drunk you are. You lost an entire day.
Let me handle this shit. Let me handle this.
I've seen what happens.
Don't correct me
when you try to handle it.
Don't make me put a wig on. God damn. God damn.
All right, I'm gonna cover the rest of this case.
Okay.
And then, if anybody is gonna be okay, so there you go.
Yeah, this is a fucking Elvis fucking pompadour here, and I saw this shit. This is not correct. Elvis's hair was not actually like this.
No, but everybody reads that as Elvis.
Yeah.
Esther said, "I love when you guys get sidetracked."
Yeah.
A lot of people do. Yeah. But you know what I mean. But like I said, I mean, we're only 2 hours and 20 minutes in. This is like not even.
We're not even scratching.
And like I said, look, that's how close I am to the bottom. That's like really close. I only have like a couple more victims. All right. That's fucked up. At least this happened a long time ago, so I don't have to feel too bad.
Yeah.
So we got distracted because this woman that got killed, that her fiance's name was, that his first name was Moss. That's where the distraction happened. Because I was like, what the fuck? Who names their kid Moss? I don't know. The same type of person that names their kid Whipple, I guess.
Tila said Tatiana is close, so that means that bitch's name is Tanya.
Okay. Well, that's
what
cool.
She means Tanya. Tanya's a fucking sexy name.
I've known lots of Tanyas.
One of my best friends in Boston, she was a Chanel model who was a fucking friend of mine. Fucking cute as shit. She ended up marrying a fucking goth music star named fucking Voltaire. And her name was Tanya. You would have liked Tanya. Tanya was cool.
He's now known as Aurelio Voltaire.
Yeah. Aurelio Voltaire, is this what he calls himself?
Aurelio Voltaire.
Yeah, Voltaire.
Yeah.
Fucking Tanya was cool.
He's cool, though.
Yeah.
I just did a poster because he's playing in Tampa and Orlando.
Yeah.
In September?
They're saying I look like James Brown now.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Do you feel
I would
good?
love it to look like James Brown. Be like...
Help me.
Yeah. Help me. Jumping back now.
You need a cape?
It's a man's world.
There you go.
Yeah. You gotta get the cape, throw the cape over me, and I gotta go.
Oh, God.
And then they bring me back.
It's too much.
Okay.
It's too much.
It's fucking too much.
It's too much.
Yeah.
He couldn't take it.
Yeah, he couldn't take that shit. Fucking, DJ Maniac left. And last time I did the live stream, he lost credibility in Elvis. He didn't think Elvis was the fucking man. And you have to understand the dynamic. The dynamic between James Brown and Elvis. They were like brothers. When fucking Elvis died, James Brown fucking lost it. He went to Graceland and everything needed time alone. They did have a project planned together. Later on, it was not about the he wants to take it down to this cultural appropriation. It wasn't like it didn't have anything to do with that. They had rock and gospel to fucking sing. Okay? It was a southern thing. It wasn't so much a fucking racial thing. And a lot of these modern people don't understand it. It was another time between another kind of man.
David June said, spoilers, Tila's name is Tom.
No. If Tatiana is close, then her name is fucking Tanya.
Thomasina?
Tanya. Which is a sexy name. Tila, if your name is Tanya, that's a cool name, man.
Also a little bit of a crazy person name. I think everybody I know...
All Tanyas are fucking crazy.
Every Tanya I've ever known has been kind of crazy a little bit.
But Tanyas tend to be hot. Just saying. But crazy bitches tend to be hot, too.
Can't confirm.
Yeah.
Well, because they can get away with it.
They can get away with it. Yeah.
That's probably why.
ugly bitch got to be sane as fuck. They do. But a crazy bitch is they going to be fucking... A hot bitch can be crazy.
Are you implying something about me?
What are you talking about? What are you talking about? How are you putting yourself in this? You're not... This is a show. But no, you know...
Because I'm not crazy.
You're not crazy. You're not crazy at all.
So I must be ugly as fuck?
No, you're not ugly. No, of course not. That's not what that means.
I'm just fucking with you.
You are a little bit crazy, though.
Everyone is. You're not normal unless you're a little bit crazy. I don't agree, because I think that it's just because one, dudes drive us crazy. That's one thing.
So you're gonna put it on a man?
Well, no, it's not. That's not the complete thing.
Okay.
But also, it's just kind of like dudes don't really understand the. They don't have the same mindset. So, if we do something they don't understand, they read that as crazy.
I can understand.
Even though we have completely like logical reasons for doing things and saying things.
You're saying it's culture clash.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Essentially.
I can understand.
Yeah. So it's like not, it's not crazy. It's just you don't really understand where they're coming from, because you're not a woman, so you don't really understand where they're coming from. So, like I said, we got distracted on the Moss thing again.
She's going, call me T, y'all. No, her name is Tanya.
Now we're like gonna.
Yeah, and I think she's basically admitting her name is Tanya. Basically.
David June says, sadly, I'm going to have to leave for about 40 minutes. I have to pick my roommate up from work. We'll probably still be here.
We might be here when you come back.
I mean, we probably will. Like I said, we've only been going for 2.5 hours. And I'm almost through the case.
She's saying she's crazy. She can confirm. Tila's name is Tanya.
I don't think I'm all that crazy. I'm not all that crazy.
No. Tila's confirming that her name is Tanya.
Okay.
Yeah. That's a good name.
Yeah, it is. I've known lots of Tanya.
Yeah.
One of my best friends in junior high was named Tanya, actually. So Hazel Bradshaw, that's who we're talking about now. She was the fourth victim. So she was a switchboard operator, and her body was found in Balboa Park. She had been stabbed 17 times. Now her fiance, this is where we got distracted, Moss E. Garrison, that was the dude's name. He got questioned by the cops. He said that they'd been to a movie, and then he walked her back to the apartment at about midnight. Now, apparently that was all that took, and the cops were like, well, obviously you're guilty, so they arrested him. There might have been some other shit going on. I'm not really sure. So they arrested him. The boyfriend said, yeah, no, it wasn't me. But the cops were like, well, I guess they searched his apartment. They found a necktie with some blood on it. Don't know whose blood it was. Don't know if it was dried blood, whatever. But they were like, oh, here we go. And also, a friend of Hazel's told the authorities that Moss had threatened her. And also, I guess he couldn't provide an alibi. Now, yes, it sounds a little bit suspicious, but that is a totally circumstantial case. Yes, he was the last person to see her. Did he kill her? I don't know. So, but the cops had enough of a case to get him arrested. So he goes to trial. Now, 3 months later, he actually, Moss there, worked for the San Diego and Arizona Railway Company. So he goes to trial 3 months after her body was found. But he got acquitted, because that was pretty much all the case they had. So rightfully, the jury acquitted him. Did he do it? I don't know. But there wasn't enough evidence to convict him. The lawyer said basically they only arrested him because they wanted to solve the shit, and you were the most convenient dude, so... Which is probably true. Maybe, allegedly. So, after that, kind of things go quiet for a couple of years. But then, in August of 1934, there was a 16-year-old girl named Celia Cota. I've also seen her, it's either Cota, C-O-T-A, or Cote, C-O-T-E. I've seen it spelled both ways. So I'm going with Cota because that's the one that I've seen more often. She was actually found dead in her backyard. What ended up happening with her was that, one night, it was August 18th, and it was kind of evening, and Celia asked her mom, she wanted to go for a short walk before dinner. Now, she asked her little sister to come with her, but the little girl said no, she didn't really feel like going. So Celia goes for a walk and does not return home.
Hold on 1 second.
What's that?
I wanted to show T, or also... This was the Tanya I was telling you about. That was a friend of mine that married Voltaire. That was her. Okay. There you go.
TJ Maniac, I'm back from my non-date with the ex.
Oh shit, you were on a non-date with the ex? Oh fuck.
Oh my goodness. We might have to delve deeper into that situation.
It's gonna be all right, bro. It's gonna be all right.
We might have to unpack that. Because you know.
Yeah.
So yeah. So basically, later, they found this 16-year-old girl dead near her home. She was Mexican-American, actually. She had been raped, strangled, and mutilated. When they found her body, in her hand, like her hand was closed like that, and they found a tuft of gray rabbit fur. Whether this was from an actual rabbit or whether it was from a rabbit fur coat, perhaps. I don't think that was ever established. So I love this too. This is from the 1934 newspaper that reported on the case. It said, quote, she had been slugged. Yeah. I laughed at that choice of words. I'm like, that's a very bizarre choice of words. And criminally assaulted. That means raped. Authorities said. They said that the girl had been strangled to death following the assault. Celia's disappearance was reported to police at midnight by her parents, Mr. and Mrs. Edward Cota, when the girl did not return after leaving home at 8:15 p.m. for a short walk. 2 patrolmen found the body behind the shed and near a canyon's edge shortly after daybreak. The girl was lying on her back when found, and part of her clothing had been ripped from her body. Steve Rivera, an 18-year-old boyfriend, was questioned by police, but exonerated when he proved he had spent the early part of the evening with the girl's aunt and was in bed by 11 o'clock last night. The death of Celia Cota makes the 7th mysterious murder on San Diego police records within the past 43 months. See, I thought this was just the 6th one, but maybe there was another one that wasn't part of the series that they were reporting in the paper. So the next one that, and again, that one was unsolved. The next one that was attributed to the killer, and at this point, I think it wasn't even until this point that they were calling the killer the Coast Fiend. Up until this point, they were kind of thinking it was the same dude, but they didn't really have a name for him, right? Now, the next woman was older. She was 48. Now, her name was Ruth Muir, M-U-I-R, I guess that's Muir. She actually worked in La Jolla. She was a social worker. I think she worked at the YMCA or YWCA, I can't remember. She was actually sitting on a beach, and a dude snuck up behind her and struck her in the head and dragged her off the beach and into a ravine. And then she was bludgeoned to death with a slab of concrete. She also found, there were also several gray hairs, don't know if it was rabbit fur, but there were several gray hairs found clutched in her hand, in her dead body. So that's kind of linked with the Celia Cota case as well. Like I said, I don't know if it was rabbit fur, if it was human fur. That seems kind of like, I don't know, seems kind of weird. So, so they do the big dragnet and everything like that. Like I said, they didn't have a concept really of serial killers in the 30s, but they did. I mean, the papers at the time did actually link a lot of these crimes together. So they were talking about it in the terms of a serial killer without calling it that. You know what I mean? Because, it was San Diego, murders did happen, but the fact that these women were just kind of killed. A lot of them were killed in kind of public places. A lot of them were killed in like kind of horrible ways. Several of them were raped. So I do kind of feel like there was a lot of things that linked them, and they actually knew back then that they were probably linked as well. So they do like a big dragnet all over the city. They questioned like a whole bunch of witnesses. But honestly, they didn't really get anywhere on this case until 19 years later. What happened in May of 1955, there was a dude who worked for the San Diego Union Tribune. His name was Mark Waters. He gets a phone call from a dude in San Juan Capistrano. This dude says, I'm the one that killed Ruth. Well, he basically said, I have some information about the Ruth Moyer murder case, and I want to know if you'll come up here and talk to me. Bring me some whiskey, and I'll tell you what happened. And then he said to the newspaper guy, I killed her with a green club. I'm tired of living. You got to do me a favor. You got to get me the gas chamber. Now, this was like many years later. This was 1955. So the newspaper guy called the cops, as you would, and they ended up arresting the dude that had called him. This dude was a 45-year-old guy named Wilbert, hey, kind of like Norbert, Wilbert Felix Friend, that was his name. And he had, his wife had recently died, so he decided, whether this is true or not, I don't know, but he decided, whatever, he calls the newspaper guy, and he said that he beat Ruth Moyer to death. He's like, I was attempting to rape and rob her, but it wasn't working out, or she was struggling or whatever, so he just ended up beating her to death with the concrete or with the club or whatever. And he said and I'm not sure if this is entirely true. I don't know if this is something that he said or if they found this out later, but they said what happened between the killing, which was in 1934, and his confession, which was 1955. He was like a laborer, he just had that kind of job. He had been convicted of rape in the interim, and when they caught him and they put him in prison, but they sent him out on parole, but before he went on parole, they castrated him, which I guess was a thing they could do back then. I don't know if they can do it nowadays. I think they do chemical castration in some places, but I don't know if this was actual castration or chemical castration. But he had apparently been castrated as a condition of the parole. Now, what ends up happening, so he actually goes to trial for that particular murder. And he indeed did get convicted of first-degree murder, and he was given the death penalty, which apparently was what he wanted. But then later on in 1958, it was commuted to life in prison. Now, nobody knows if this Friend guy, Wilbert Friend, was the dude that actually killed Ruth Moyer, or if he was just one of those weirdos that likes to confess to things. No one knows entirely. Like I said, I think the only evidence they had at the trial was his confession, and apparently it lined up enough to convince the jury because the jury convicted him. But I don't know if he actually did it or not. It's entirely possible that he did. Now, this last crime in the series, I kind of feel like maybe this was a different dude. Because this was a little bit different. Although this was kind of a little bit like the quote-unquote Diamond Dolly case, where it was kind of like someone broke in her house and, fucked everything up and, killed her in the house. Because this was another one that happened inside someone's house. So March 1938, there was a woman named Florilla Kralik. She was 67, actually. Now, she was found beaten to death with a piano stool, of all things, in her house, which was on Sunset Beach. Now, she was, when they found her, she was only wearing underwear and stockings. Now, the house was all fucked up. It had been ransacked, apparently, but I don't think anything was stolen. But she hadn't been raped. Now, I don't know. Okay, so this is, really weird. Again, this is another article where they called the killer a quote-unquote degenerate. You know what I mean? So I guess degenerate and sex fiend were kind of like the phrases that they used back then. So they start canvassing the neighborhood to see if any of the neighbors know anything. Now, when they questioned the neighbors, they found out that Florilla, that a lot of the neighbors had some kind of weird perceptions of her because she was kind of one of those older ladies that was real reclusive. So some kind of rumors had spread about her that she was super rich.
Like you would.
And then she was just kind of like, was in there all the time. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, they said that's kind of like happens a lot. People don't.
They don't know the person they're going to infer.
They don't. So they're going to like invent a bunch of stuff about them because it makes it more exciting, I guess. They said, this is what the newspaper said. Detectives learned Mrs. Kralik was a figure of mystery who lived alone in a world of her own creation. That's
Do you
what
want me
they
to
said.
top you off? Can you finish the rest of it?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll split the last 2 bottles.
Okay. She apparently owned 2 houses, one of the ones that she lived in, and that she also, well, she lived in the small cottage, and she owned 2 other houses which were larger, and then she had the cottage she lived in had another big house next to it that she also owned, but she didn't live in it. She lived in the littler one. So what the cops, their working theory was that somebody either lived in the neighborhood or knew somebody that lived in the neighborhood, and they had heard these rumors that, hey, here's this reclusive old woman, she lives by herself, she has a shit ton of money, and decided he was going to bust in there. But had that been the case, you'd think that they would have taken some shit, and apparently they did not. So I don't know if she didn't actually have money. Somebody broke in thinking she had money, and she's like, bitch, I don't have anything. I'm as broke as you are. And then the dude got mad and just picked up, a convenient piano stool and beat her to death with it. That sounds kind of likely to me. So that was kind of like what the cops were going with. Now, the creepy thing about this was that Florilla Kralik, apparently she had been sick. I don't know with what. I don't know if it was cancer or whatever it was. And she had told like friends of hers that she's like, yeah, I'm not going to be around much longer type of thing. So she had reportedly said to one of her neighbors, Mrs. Maddie Adams, this was a quote, or at least this is what her friend said that she said to her. If my shades are down for a day and a half, come on over and I'll be dead. That's what she said. It's like, that's cheerful. So that's exactly what happened. Like the neighbor, Mrs. Adams, was like, hey, those blinds haven't been like raised in 3 days. So she went over there, and indeed, Mrs. Kralik was dead in there. Only wearing underwear and stockings, laying on the floor, and she'd been beaten to death. So, cops said, I guess she had some wounds that were consistent with her being, struggling with the killer before she was killed. And, but, the cops were kind of like, maybe a robbery gone wrong, but you'd think that if it was a robber, even if he was mad and he beat her to death, you'd think that he would have taken some more shit. It didn't really seem like anything was taken. You know what I mean? Like, because there were some valuable things in the house and nothing was taken. She hadn't been raped. The killer had not gone through her purse or anything like that. And as I said, nothing of value was taken. So cops eliminated robbery, but they didn't really have any other theories about it. Now, Florilla Kralik, like I said, I'm not entirely sure. Thank you. That this one's part of the series, but it's usually included, even though the MO is slightly different and the victim profile is slightly different because she was quite a bit older. But because this one is unsolved, it happened in the same proximity, in the same area, shit like that. So this one is usually like attributed maybe to the Coast Fiend as well. The interesting thing about this is kind of reminded me a little bit of the Atlanta Ripper case. Because Atlanta Ripper, we did a show about that a while back, and that's kind of another, potential serial killer that nowadays they're not entirely sure that all of the victims were killed by the same dude. Although I think maybe not all of them were, because, I read some stuff about that case, and some of the victims sounded like it was just like a coincidence, and they were just killed by their boyfriends or whatever. But I think that most of them were probably killed by the same dude. In this case, I think at least 4 of these women were probably killed by the same dude. You know what I mean? This last one, maybe, but I doubt it. And the whole Diamond Dolly situation, maybe, but I doubt it. That sounds more like a personal thing, like somebody came over, they got in an argument, whatever. But the other ones, the other 4 or 5, I think maybe there was like some serial killer running around and they never did catch him. Now I will say that a couple of sources a bit later on, attempted to link this guy, whoever he was, to the Black Dahlia case. That maybe this was the same dude that did that. But the interesting thing is, if you go to like a lot of the more, the more mainstream like Black Dahlia sources, like the book and like the Wikipedia page and stuff, in the long list of suspects that they have, the Coast Fiend is not listed. So, I don't know. I kind of feel like it's very easy to... I mean, serial killers are rare, thankfully. So it's always kind of like, well, if we have a series of serial killings here that are unsolved, and then there's this other case that's unsolved, like, 100 miles away, you have to look into that possibility, because it could very well be that it was the same person. And it did seem like this dude was just, like, attacking young women and girls at random.
It's hard to say. There are some differences between all these cases.
Like I said, the two that I think were maybe not were Florella Kralik, because like I said, that happened in her house, and that seemed almost like somebody came in looking for money, she didn't have any, and then he got mad. But then they didn't take anything. And like I said, the Diamond Dolly case, that kind of seems like maybe that was somebody that maybe knew her. Because that happened in her house. But the ones that happened out in public and the bodies were dumped in the public, like the one hanging from the tree and like the little girl in the bag and shit like that, that kind of sounds like the same dude.
Yeah.
That kind of sounds like the same dude. So I think at least four of these were probably the same dude. And that's probably like a serial killer that they never fucking caught.
All right. So, if you guys fucking want to send any super chats, go ahead and send a super chat. If not, we'll be here. We're going to chill out for a little bit more. Do you know what I was just thinking, Jenny?
What were you thinking?
The show went by fucking so fast. Okay? It's early as fuck. We could actually go out tonight. We could go to Mannequins. I'm ready to fucking drive down to Mannequins.
Are you really?
I am.
Okay.
You don't want to go?
Well, we could, but I have to like get ready and
We got time. It's only 8:30.
It's 8:41. Yeah.
8:41.
I guess so.
Yeah. We'll have fun. I even told the kids, I said we might be heading down there.
Oh, shit. Okay.
And then we pre-gamed like a motherfucker. It's not like we have to spend a bunch of money.
That's true. Well, yeah, cool. I don't have a bunch of money this month, and neither do you. So it's kind of like, let's not.
I'm okay. I'm okay. I had that birthday present money.
That's true.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, he got a lot of money for his birthday.
Yeah, I got that birthday. I could handle that, actually. So, do we have any questions about the case, people?
Yeah, I mean we've been almost good going for 3 hours, and I did finish the case. We did go off on a bunch of tangents.
Right.
Let me just.
This is like some bonus shit.
We'll chill.
Shit.
We'll chill out on the show.
Yeah.
I want to finish my beer.
Finish that shit, and we'll hang out with the people.
Yeah. And then I'll have to find something to wear.
Well, we could go simple. Okay, I'm just gonna show up dressing like Riddick or some shit like that. Nothing fucking fancy.
Well, you don't have to put makeup on. You don't have to do your hair. You don't have to do.
You don't really have to either, though.
Yeah, I do, because I look like crap otherwise.
Nah.
I gotta be. I gotta be fancy. I gotta be fancy.
Nah.
I gotta be fancy.
Mostly clothes.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll find something. Maybe I'll just.
I feel like I'm overhydrated.
You're overhydrated.
I'm overhydrated. I feel like you know that little fucking girl out of Willy Wonka's that blew up from the fucking berries.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that right now.
Violet Beauregard.
It's because beer.
I got a blueberry for a daughter.
Yeah, it's because fucking beer is not as concentrated. You know what I'm talking about?
Beer makes me just want to pee and also want to sleep.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like hard liquor, like I get real talkative and I want to dance. You know what I mean? I want to do shit.
Right.
When we have beer, I'm always like, let's take a nap.
Yeah. See what everybody's doing.
Let's take a nap, and also I have to go to the bathroom every 5 minutes because it goes like right through me. Esther says, "Jenny, you look beautiful. Thank you." I mean, this makeup, it's a good foundation. I could just put more eye shit on and put more eye shit.
Eye shit.
Hey, I like all that black shit. That was from like fucking The Breakfast Club. And then, I could just cover my hair up and put a wig on, I guess, and then just find some. Maybe I could wear that little that little dress or whatever.
Where the fucking
Then I don't have to wear a corset.
Yeah, no. Where the what you call it? The fucking fucking
Wednesday Addams.
Wednesday Addams.
Well, that's what I said. I can wear that one or the one with the little frock.
Yeah. That's all you do.
Because then I don't have to wear a corset. Because I don't really feel like wearing it.
Well, it doesn't look like there's a whole lot of action. Might as well shut it down.
Well, no, I'm drinking my beer still.
We can drink when we can drink after we shut that shit down. Nobody's talking. y'all bitches aren't talking, so we're gonna shut it down. Where's fucking tea?
Is that a threat?
Yeah. I hit live chat and I don't see anything. T said, yeah.
Esther said, Jenny, I would hang out with you regardless of how you look. Thank you.
Yeah.
I look super funny without fucking makeup on. Well, it's mostly it's because I don't have eyebrows.
She looks the same. That's all. It's just the eyebrows. Yeah.
That's the only downside to shaving my eyebrows off. I don't regret it. I'm not saying that because it's like I hated fucking plucking my eyebrows because I have big fucking, like I said, Wolfman Jack eyebrows that are a different color than my hair. But that's the downside, is that you have to at least draw eyebrows on. Otherwise, everyone looks at you like, what? Why do you look so funny? I can't put my finger on it. Like, you know what I mean?
I took my test shot last night, so that bitch is fucking fire right now. And like where we're going, just up the street, and we don't have to be out all night anyway.
That's kind of like, I mean, I like going to Ibar, but it's like, it's so much farther.
It's further.
Ibar is 18 miles from here.
Yeah. The other
Mannequins is like 5 miles.
Yeah.
So
5.
It's much, much easier. You don't have to get on I-4. You don't have to. And honestly, we've heard that Friday nights are better.
Right. I want to see them. We haven't been.
Because we usually go on Saturday nights, but it's like, I still like to keep Saturday nights free because I like to go to Ibar on Saturday nights too. Yeah. But we've been going to Mannequins just because it's closer and we're lazy. Yeah. And that's where the kids go.
Right.
So we want to go there with the kids.
I sent them a message. We might be going.
Okay. Well, like I said, okay. Well, we just took
no, you just got an answer.
We took showers not too long ago just because of all the bathroom shit. So we had to fucking disinfect ourselves.
We can just go.
We had to disinfect ourselves.
It's just up the street. It's not even 9 o'clock.
Okay.
It's not even 9 o'clock. We got so much shit we can just throw on. It's local.
That's true.
It's local.
Yeah, Gramthars Hammer said 18 miles is a long way to avoid Johnny Law after a few brewskis. It is.
No, we're just and the shit's local. And look, you can ask the kids and ask her. I don't avoid police. Not at all. I'll go up and talk to them. fucking little dude was like, dude, how do you get away with how do you get away with the shit you get away with? And I said, well, I understand the culture. Okay. I'm not committing a crime. I worked with these dudes. Can I understand the lingo?
Well, and you're not. I mean, you've drank, but you're not driving crazy.
Yeah, I'm not driving. I'm not.
You're not speeding. You're not doing anything weird. You're just driving normal.
Yeah. So, and Florida is a very different environment. It's a lot more permissive than people think. Yeah, it's the South, but the South kind of has this action going on. Everybody knows who's fucking up and who isn't. And it's still kind of like the last bastions of TNA and alcohol and fucking partying. This is the fucking even our governor said so. There, he was like, look, this is the recreational area of the United States. Don't come in here and fuck this place up. It's just a fun place, There are other states that are fun too, but Florida's fucking fun.
Except when it's hot.
It's the only thing that fucks it up is the heat. The heat keeps the pussies out, though.
I don't know. I was born here, and I don't like the heat, so I don't blame people for not wanting to hang out in it. I don't like to hang out with it. I'm from here. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Your glasses are all crooked.
Yeah, I know. All right, Jenny, go ahead and shut it down. It's time.
He's telling me to shut it down.
It's time.
All right. It's so I guess I'm gonna slap on some makeup, slap on a wig.
Yeah.
And then we'll go out.
Yeah. Well, we got time.
But I sort of look how much beer I got left though.
We'll drink as we're getting ready.
Okay.
We got a couple miles to go. That's it.
All right.
And then we're going to a fucking club where we're friends with the owner.
That's true.
Okay?
We'll be fine.
We're going to have fun.
We'll be fine.
It'll be fun.
Are the kids coming?
I don't know. I'm talking to them.
Because now if we go...
other people will be there.
That's true. Yeah. Like I said, they said that Friday nights was better as far as more goth people.
Right.
Less, like some goth people go Saturday nights, but not as many.
I'm going to throw my shit on and we're going to go.
Okay, but don't rush me, though.
No.
Don't rush me. All right.
All right.
So...
Like, share, subscribe.
Do all that stuff.
Right.
And we will be back on Sunday afternoon talking about... We'll probably have to talk about food because I don't know if we'll have time to watch a movie.
Thank you very much. Who's that?
No need for me to.
No need for me, but you come through and motherfucker, you are special. And your order is sitting right there on that... we got
to take it tomorrow and put it
tomorrow.
In the box.
It's ship it out.
A bunch of shirts.
Did some special shit for you. Pink shirts with a black fucking ink on them, and it looked great.
That was the first time we've done like black on a different color.
We ordered black.
Also,
here, hold on. I'm gonna get that.
Got a cat and a dog.
Yeah.
Hopefully it fits them. I got cat size and I got medium dog size. So we'll see. Yeah, I was gonna get one for Pookie too, but I didn't think she would wear it.
That shit came out so cool.
Yeah, I like how that black came out. This is the first time we've done like black ink. Said y'all don't get a DOI and be safe.
Yeah.
We won't. I mean, I hope. Hopefully the battery's working. I think it is. Yeah. We went out there the other day and the battery was dead, and then we charged it, and then we went out there again and the battery was dead again. So we thought the battery wasn't holding the charge, but it's been okay since then.
Yeah.
So it's all right. I'm
gonna go out there and try it.
All right. Like I said, we have a charger thing, so it'll be all right. All right. So we will be back Sunday afternoon talking about whatever. Thanks everybody for hanging out with us on Friday night. We're gonna go out and see what trouble we can get into.
Yeah.
I guess.
We're gonna have fun.
Jason Bruce says, "A Pookie, no parties while mom and dad are out." I know, she has all her little Pookie friends over. Yeah. They're all partying with little hats on and shit. That would be funny. All right, so we will see you guys on Sunday, and that'll do it for the show. I'm glad I got through the fucking case. I'm glad it was short. All right. Bye, you guys.